Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you, shockingly, for Friday, August 29th. Better off dead. Depending on how you want to grade it yesterday, it was either 1-1 on the show for a slight loss or 0-1-1 for still slight but worse loss, a loss of like a full unit or however you want to grade that. The San Francisco and Chicago Cubs under. The game landed right on 7. It looked like it could have been dead. I mean, that game was at 3-3 in like the 6th inning. So I was like, yeah, this is probably fucked. I think both starters, they each gave up 3 earned runs. I mean, they weren't terrible in the game, but it's the way that it is. You're looking at that game. You're like, if this goes into extra innings, you could be in trouble because of the stupid ghost runner, which they have to get rid of that rule. Could easily mean that both teams might score. You're going to get multiple runs in extra innings, and then you're done because you know it's 3-3. You know one team at least has to score. The only way that thing's going to land 7 at that point is if it winds up 4-3. But that is what happened. The Giants were able to get it done. I think maybe with a walk-off in the 9th inning. I don't even remember, but they were able to get it done 4-3. So I gave it out under 7 on the show at plus money, but I did say that if you found under 7.5 up to about minus 120, I thought that was worth it to get the hook because then you win if it lands on 7. So I don't know what you want to grade that as. If a win or grade it as how I gave it out on the show as a push. I mean, I would prefer to grade it as a win just because I did make that clarification. Like I'm a little bit loose with these clarifications on this show, but I hate it when it lands like right near the number. That's what it is. That's why it's valuable to get on the better side of the number, man. And then North Carolina State was very, very disappointing. I mean, it looked like that was going to be a winner. They had the lead. They charged out of the gate. They were up 17-0. I mean, they weren't getting enough offense really in the game, but their offense, I think, was the better of the 2 offenses. It was way balanced. Like, if you look at the stats in that game, East Carolina, all they were doing was throwing the ball, although, of course, some of that was because they were losing the whole game, but North Carolina State, NC State had a much more balanced offensive attack. So that's the type of thing that you want. That usually is going to lend itself to getting that win. Of course, they did win. I mean, they were winning basically wire to wire, but they just didn't get the cover. I mean, they were in covering position multiple times. They were up 17-0 in the second half. They gave up a touchdown right before halftime. Very unfortunate, but still, it's a 10-point lead at halftime. You need them to win by 2 touchdowns. It's like, all right, I mean, the game's close enough. They're not going to take their foot off the gas here. Keep going. They immediately basically pushed the lead back up to 17. So I'm like, okay, up 17 again in the third quarter. This is looking pretty good. Finish them off, man. And then NC State never scored again, and they wound up winning by 7. And East Carolina, I guess, was in NC State territory towards the end of the game and turned it over on downs as well. It's brutal, man. I mean, that one, I don't really think it was necessarily, I mean, I thought it was a good play. I still don't really think it was a bad play. I mean, I thought that the angle was good on that game. The balanced offensive attack was good there for NC State. Didn't get there, though. I mean, football, like, there's really not a huge difference in football sometimes between like a 7 point span there. Like, that game could have been a cover. It could have been tied and gone into overtime. There's so many different ways that could have gone. College football, it was pretty crazy, man, with the first somewhat larger college football slate here on that Thursday for week 1, though. We had Boise State looked like they didn't even show up, which was shocking to me. They scored right away, and they were winning 7-0, and then never scored again. And if you watch that game, South Florida, their defense is going to get picked apart again this year. That defense was awful. Their offense was pretty good. Their quarterback, dual threat quarterback, was back, like I mentioned. I didn't know if he was going to bounce back right away from being injured for most of last year, but he came back. He looked pretty good. But really, South Florida, that defense could have given it up big time in that game, and it was shocking how inept Boise State's offense looked. If you watch that game, like, their quarterback, who's a veteran quarterback and has been good throughout his college career, missing wide open throws. There are some throws that he threw not in the vicinity of anybody. I'm like, what is he doing? And Boise State, I believe, was at least -3, maybe -4 in turnovers. They had a ton of fumbles. Fumbles, again, they're a little bit random. Not like they're more random than interceptions. That game was crazy. I did get the lean right on Cincinnati plus the points, and Nebraska still won for our friend. Is it Nate, who's the Nebraska fan? So both of us kind of got what we wanted there. Although I didn't give out a play on Cincinnati. And then that was a low-scoring game, too. And then we had, I told you Miami, Ohio might not score against Wisconsin at all. That's what happened. Miami, Ohio, 0 points. They went under their team total, man. Wisconsin didn't get enough points to really take their foot off the gas defensively there. They only 17-0. Some of these games are just absurd, dude. I think the Wyoming Akron score was like 10-0. I'm like, yeah, this is a great game. I told you that was going to be the worst game on the entire board. That was, disgusting. And Akron didn't cover, even though Wyoming only scored 10 points. Akron couldn't cover as the home underdog. It's all crazy, dude. Rutgers almost lost to Ohio. That was a 31-31 tie late in the game. Week 1, man, there's so much randomness. It's just, sometimes it's hard to gauge who these teams even really are yet. It's just insane. I don't know if any of the other games are of note. Buffalo did cover against against Minnesota. Minnesota still won by double digits, but didn't quite get the cover there. A very low-scoring game there, too. UCF basically couldn't score at all, and they barely escaped against Jacksonville State, who basically has overhauled their entire roster and have a new coach. UCF, has a coach that came back to them, but that's a pretty bad performance. Again, UCF, they were constantly underperforming last year, man. But anyway, let's get into today. Today, I'm going to talk about, we have WNBA, we have baseball. Try to get this done. Then we do have college football, which I'll hit the college football slate. I don't love the college football slate tonight. I'll talk about the games. I'm not going to have a play on any of these games tonight, and then I will give out baseball plays. If you like unders, this is going to be the day for you, man. Baseball, I'm getting a little bit excited, man, and you'll see why if you don't know why already. Me being a Red Sox fan, but hopefully these unders all hit, man. But that means what the plays already are in that game and the game I listed in the description here. But anyway, let's get into this, man. We'll do the rundown. We'll talk about the stupid WNBA first, which I will not have a play. I haven't had a play in probably over a week in WNBA. Dallas at Atlanta. Atlanta's all the way up from -11 to -16 in this game. I don't know if that means that Beckers is still dealing with an injury or something. Is she playing? I don't know. She's listed as a game-time decision. She's been dealing with an illness. I believe she may have missed their last game. Dallas, they're coming off a really ugly loss to Connecticut, but Beckers didn't play, although if she does return, I think that's a little bit of a bad spot for them as well, because that means their star players coming back. And I talk about the reverse injured player spot there. So that's not necessarily a great spot because the team kind of will take their foot off the gas a little bit potentially, and they have to work her back into the starting rotation again. Not baseball starting rotation, but into the starting lineup again. So that may be a little bit of an issue when she does come back. It looks like it's not going to happen here, though, which is part of the reason why the number is where it is. It's 16. Atlanta does have something to play for as they're still fighting for playoff positioning here. They just lost to Las Vegas, which is a pretty big game. But anyway, I mean, Atlanta will have more motivation here, but the line might be a little bit too big on them. And losing to Connecticut is pretty embarrassing, so maybe Dallas will still show up with some motivation here. I probably would not lay the 16 there, but I mean, it is definitely a mismatch still. And then you have Indiana against LA. LA is only a 1.5-point favorite. It's gone up with some juice there. I'm trying to keep my tabs in order here, man. With all I look at the returning production in week 1 for college football, and then once week 1 is over, I kind of ignore it after that. But Indiana still without Caitlin Clark here. Supposedly she's going to be back at some point before the playoffs. I guess she's rehabbing. I don't know what's going to happen. Indiana still beat Seattle by 20 points last time out without her, so they're actually still playing decent basketball. They're still in position to make the playoffs. They're going to need to make sure they do make the playoffs. So this game matters. It matters to both teams, really. I mean, LA is sitting at home, losing their last game to Phoenix. Phoenix, pretty good team right now. LA is on the verge of getting eliminated from the playoffs here, so they obviously have motivation as well. This game is really difficult to gauge as well. Of course, Indiana's also without Cunningham for the rest of the year. Now, what do we want to do with that game? I don't know. Pass. Pass on the game, man. That's all I can really say about that. Sometimes I just don't even really want to give out an opinion. I just don't even really have an opinion really on either one of these games. So we'll move on to baseball here. We do have a full baseball slate here. It's one of those days, man. It's a Friday. We got new series starting. Some series actually started yesterday, so got to keep that in mind. Got to look at which teams are rested and which teams are not. And that comes into play right away with the first game. All of these are evening games. So we have Cardinals-Reds here, St. Louis-Cincinnati. Cincinnati did not play yesterday, and St. Louis did. St. Louis beat Pittsburgh yesterday, so they have a rest disadvantage here, and they're having to travel from Pittsburgh to Cincinnati, although that's not really a long trip. Cincinnati also in a bad spot because they were just on the Pacific Coast and in Arizona. They just had a 3-series road trip, and now they're returning home, and yeah, they got swept by the Dodgers at the end of that road trip, so you might think, well, they're back at home, they're going to bounce back. I will say that Cincinnati does have motivation because they are potentially out of the playoffs here. Let me shrink that window there so it looks a little bit better on my screen here. I have an ultra-wide monitor, so it makes the dimensions here not look that good. Anyway, Cincinnati, they're still going to have motivation, really, because they're trying to make the playoffs still, so I don't think they're really necessarily going to be totally in a distracted spot, but it is still a return home spot. You're still crossing time zones. There's still a little bit of a difficult spot for them. So I still don't really love the spot for Cincinnati, but St. Louis played yesterday, like I said, so they're at a rest disadvantage. So both teams in kind of a bad spot here. St. Louis used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. I'll still give, St. Louis has the better bullpen. Obviously, the usage kind of detracts from that a little bit. I'm looking at offense here. Whoops. Cincinnati has the better offense out of the two, and Cincinnati is the team with something to play for. Probably have to still give St. Louis the bullpen edge because their bullpen actually continues to be pretty good, even after they traded some guys away. Starting pitching matchup, man, this is difficult to gauge. Liberatore is pitching for the Cardinals. Matthew Liberatore, 4.27 ERA, 1.29 whip. His whip is a bit high. He's actually slightly better on the road, 4.03 ERA on the road. This month, he hasn't been that good. 5.4 ERA across 5 starts, 15-8 strikeout walk ratio. So strikeout rate is down a little bit. I don't know that he's really that much of a strikeout pitcher anyways. Walk rate's a little bit high. Last out, he walked 3 guys, gave 4 earned runs, didn't even make it 5 innings. But it was at Tampa. It is a difficult stadium to pitch in. Very hitter-friendly stadium there, and that spring training stadium they play in. He did have some pretty difficult outings this month. He did face the Dodgers on the road. San Diego on the road is at least a pitcher-friendly park. He didn't do well in that start either. He's only gone 5 innings once, going all the way back to early July, which is not a good sign either. So really, you got to say he's not in good form right now. He's going up against Cincinnati here. Against Cincinnati, Liberatore, his numbers are pretty mediocre. 46 at-bats, 5.3 strikeout walk ratio, 261 average allowed, 741 OPS. So he's not great against them, so he might be fade material in this one. He's going up against Zach Littell, who is at least the better of the two. He has the better numbers on the season, but he's in better recent form as well. The Reds picked him up before the trade deadline. He's got a 3.62 ERA, 1.14 whip. This includes his numbers with Tampa Bay. And even pitching in that horrible Tampa Bay stadium, he's got a 3.18 home ERA this year. And he's in another hitter-friendly park here in Cincinnati, but he's still been pretty good with his home numbers. His one home start with Cincinnati was against Milwaukee, held them to 1 run in 6 innings, so that was a pretty good outing for him. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's had 2 good outings and 2 bad outings with Cincinnati. Both bad outings were on the road, but they were pretty ugly. Didn't even make it 5 innings in either of those starts. So he's still in the better form of a Liberatore right now, but his last start was ugly at Arizona. 3 earned runs allowed, 3 walks, 3 innings. 3 strikeouts, all threes, an unearned run as well. But Arizona's a good lineup, and that's a pretty difficult park to pitch in, so maybe I'll give him a little bit of a pass for that. He does have an 8-2 strikeout walk ratio on 3 starts. 17-6, what am I saying? 8-2 was against the Cubs. 17-6 strikeout walk ratio this month, 3.92 ERA, and that's his entire time with the Reds. So it's not terrible. He's going up against St. Louis, who their offense has been struggling for a bit now, for the most part. He does have good numbers against them, and they haven't seen much of him. Only 5 of their hitters have faced him before. They only have 15 at-bats against him, 200 average, 517 OPS, 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. So Littell, he is still the pitcher that's in the better form. He does still have the better matchup numbers. So I think Cincinnati, the matchup seems to indicate that maybe you should be looking towards them in the first 5 innings. Makes sense as far as the starting pitching is concerned. But Cincinnati in that return home spot, it's a little bit difficult to do, man, even though St. Louis is the less rested bullpen. They are the better bullpen. This is a really difficult game to gauge, man. There's just so many conflicting factors here. Cincinnati's up from -130 to -133 here. 88% of tickets, only 78% of the cash on them, though. So the money seems to be coming in against Cincinnati and on the under, dropping it to 9 juice to the under. It's a pretty high total. It's a hitter-friendly park. 75% of tickets on the over, 52% of the cash on the under. I guess I could see the argument that both starting pitchers might do okay, and you got a good bullpen against, a rested bullpen, so maybe I could see some arguments for the under, but I'm not going to personally try to argue for it, but that's, I'm just trying to break everything down here, and that's the way the market is leaning. And if you don't really have a strong opinion, the market, could be the thing that kind of decides how you want to lean in that game. If that's the case, it probably means you shouldn't be putting money on it, though. Just a pure market read. Sometimes it does work out, though. Atlanta at Philadelphia. Philadelphia took the first game of this series. The series actually started yesterday. Schwarber, I think, hit 4 home runs in the game yesterday for Philadelphia. One of their hitters hit 4 home runs. They absolutely annihilated Atlanta yesterday, 19-4. Pretty embarrassing, so maybe Atlanta will want to kind of bounce back from that, but it's going to be difficult for them to do so with this matchup here. Atlanta does have the better bullpen, but Philly's bullpen's not that good. Atlanta's bullpen is pretty rested as well, though Philadelphia only used 2 of their relievers yesterday too, so the bullpen rest situation isn't really bad for either team. Philadelphia has the better offense here, and they have the better starting pitcher. It doesn't take much to be better than Bryce Elder, who's pitching for the Braves, who is not good. 6.12 ERA, 1.52 whip. Really bad, although he's actually a little bit better on the road. 5.25 ERA on the road. This month, he's actually had more good starts than bad starts this month, so you could give him that at least. His last time out, he pitched well against the Mets, and actually 2 of his good starts this month are both against the Mets. So it seems like maybe he gets a little pumped up to face these better teams, so maybe he will against Philly here. Philly, obviously they have something to play for here. They're trying to hang on to the division here. Atlanta, it's still going to be a motivation spot for Atlanta after getting embarrassed yesterday in Atlanta. They know they're playing a division rival here, so I think they'd probably want nothing more than to try to get back at Philly a little bit here. But Elder, he's just still overall not good. He has a 5.64 ERA this month, despite having 3 good starts this month. The 2 bad starts were pretty bad, especially one against the White Sox, which is very hard to explain because the White Sox are really bad offensively. But I gave out a first 5 White Sox play in that game, and that was a winner. The White Sox actually imploded and lost the game late. Elder has a 23-10 strikeout walk ratio this month, which isn't terrible. He's not like a huge strikeout guy. Against the Phillies, his numbers are not very good. In 62 at bats, you probably could have seen that coming. 15 to 11 strikeout walk ratio, not good. 290 average allowed, 1,010 OPS, that's not good. So, do we expect Elder to actually pitch well in this game? I'm leaning towards no, not really. He's going up against Ronyer Suarez for the Phillies. Good numbers on the season, man. 3.07 ERA, 1.13 whip. He's a guy that, based on his career stats and the fact that he's 30, like last year he started out hot, and I was like, this guy's going to regress a little bit. And he did, and I said that this year, and he actually did take a dip this year, but he's actually pitching well again recently. So he's up and down, man. And pitchers, you want to kind of treat them like racehorses in a way where you want to look at their recent form. You want to be on a pitcher, basically, that you think is in good form or coming back into form, and generally kind of want to go against pitchers that are in bad form, more or less. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Suarez, he is in pretty good form right now. He's not as good at home, though. 3.82 ERA at home. But again, last couple starts, he gave up 2 earned runs combined across 13 2/3 innings. Both of those starts at home against Seattle and Washington. Seattle, pretty solid offense. Washington, not really. Suarez also had 21 strikeouts over that span, double-digit strikeouts in both starts, no walks. So he is definitely in good form over his last 2 starts after. He was actually pitching rough prior to that. Like, he had like 1, maybe 2 good starts over the prior 6 starts. So he's come back into form right now. It looks like he does have a 32-2 strikeout walk ratio this month and no walks in 4 of the 5 starts. So his command is on right now, so that's a good sign. 4.45 ERA this month because he did have a couple of rough outings in there against Cincinnati and Baltimore. Not a good offense, but his most recent outings indicate to me that he's kind of back in form again. Against Atlanta, he does have good numbers. They have a lot of experience against him, 180 at bats. So you'd think that with that kind of familiarity, they'd be able to hit him, but no, they don't really. 41 strikeouts, 13 walks. That's a decent ratio. A pretty good ratio, really. 217 batting average allowed, 636 OPS allowed. He's allowed 6 home runs to the Braves, but 3 of them are albies. Your crying shoulder. But so half of the home runs he's allowed are to Albies there. So maybe if he pitches around him, that'll help him out as well. It's easier to pitch around one guy that does damage against you for the most part. So, I mean, it looks like a matchup where Philadelphia does have a lot of edges in this game, man. Especially, I think, with the starting pitching matchup. Maybe not so much in the bullpen. So you could look towards them in the first 5 innings. Kind of like what I said with Cincinnati. The money against you. So you're coming in against Philly, though. 95% of tickets, they're very public. Only 88% of the cash. I don't know how many public bettors really come in and lay like minus 177 money lines, though. It's up from minus 165 to minus 177. That's the other thing with baseball handicapping. You got to keep all that in mind. Like, the public percentages do mean something, but also, you could tell Philly's going to be a public side here, but the public doesn't usually play big money lines like this. They usually actually try to identify underdogs that they think shouldn't be an underdog, and a lot of times you want to fade that sentiment. But in this case, I think Suarez clearly is the better pitcher over Elder. Maybe the way to look in this game. The money seems to maybe be coming in slightly on the over, but the over is public as well. 96% of tickets, 98% of the cash. I don't even know if I buy those numbers, to be honest. I mean, I could see the argument for that, but I think if you wanted to go with an angle like that, I think maybe Philly over their team total makes more sense. Even though I know they scored a shit ton of runs last night, so it seems like there shouldn't be any value in doing that, but it's a high total. You got a bad pitcher on the mound for Atlanta. Their bullpen isn't exactly terrific, so I could see that being the case. Stacks, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Next up, we got Tampa, Washington. This is an ugly game, man. 2 teams that are probably pretty much out of it. Washington's returning home from a road trip, or they only won 1 game on the road trip, but it was at Philadelphia and at the Yankees, so pretty good teams that they lost to. But they're coming home off of all that. They just got swept by the Yankees. Returning home, usually not a good spot. Like I say, you tend to be a little bit distracted, especially if you're a bad team and you're basically out of it and you're not playing a team that's really going to garner your focus here. like Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay is also pretty much out of it. Tampa's in the middle of a road trip, and it's been kind of ugly for them. They just lost twice to Cleveland, so they might actually be benefiting more from the spot that they're in. Just get out of Cleveland, just travel, forget about that, try to win a game. So I think Tampa does have some advantages in this game. They also have the better bullpen. I think they have the better offense as well. I mean, I could double check that here at the that's the bullpen stats, the hitting stats here. Tampa Bay's 15th in offense, OPS-wise. Washington's all the way down to 24th. So Tampa, better offense, better bullpen. I'm going to go ahead and say they have the better pitching as well, starting pitching in this game. Both of these teams were off yesterday. So the bullpens are rested, but Washington's bullpen is still pretty bad. Like, they're bottom of the barrel bullpen-wise. Tampa has Adrian Hauser pitching, and Tampa, they were buyers at the trade deadline, man, because they brought in Hauser from the White Sox. So that was a move they made to bolster their rotation before the trade deadline. But Tampa, unfortunately for them, they're pretty much out of it now, and they're in a tough division. But Hauser's been good on the season, 2.88 ERA, although 1.29 whip is a little bit high. He's been worse on the road, 3.48 ERA on the road, which is still not terrible. He's been a little bit worse since joining Tampa. He's had 4 starts. He's actually allowed 4 more runs in 3 of the 4, and he's only gone more than 5 2/3 innings once in his most recent start, and he gave up 4 runs in that one against St. Louis. He hasn't really faced a gauntlet of offenses here either. San Francisco, St. Louis in the last 2, although his team won both of those starts. He did shut out San Francisco. I didn't pitch that well in Seattle, which is a pitcher-friendly park, and he lost pretty badly at Anaheim. That was his worst start, his first start with Tampa. Anaheim, and they're a capable offense at least, but overall he's got a 5.32 ERA this month, 15-6 strikeout walk ratio, not great numbers, and that's all with Tampa Bay. I mean, there were some signs that maybe he wouldn't continue to do as well as he was doing because he hasn't been this good in his career. He's in his 30s. He faced some weak offenses when he was with the White Sox, so some indicators he wouldn't do as well throughout the season. His numbers against Washington are pretty good. 31 at-bats, 226 batting average allowed, 626 OPS. He's only allowed 1 extra base hit, a DeJong double. 8.6 strikeout walk ratio is pretty ugly, although 5 of the walks are Josh Bell. Bell, probably the best power hitter on Washington, so I guess just keep all that in mind. But Hauser overall does have pretty good numbers against Washington. I think he should have the upper hand against Mitchell Parker for Washington, who is not having a good season. 6.01 ERA. I mean, his career hasn't been good so far. 6.01 ERA, 1.49 whip on the season. He's been a little bit better at home, 5.45 ERA. Still pretty bad. This month, he's been atrocious. In 5 starts, his team has lost all 5. He has a 12 ERA and 13-11 strikeout walk ratio. Man, that is brutal. 4 or more runs allowed in every single outing. He did face some good offenses. Milwaukee, the A's are pretty good. Philly twice. So he's getting lit up by some pretty good offenses here. But he didn't do well against Kansas City either in their pitcher-friendly parks. I mean, needless to say, Parker, not in good form right now. And when is he ever really in good form? Not usually. Against Tampa Bay, they haven't seen a lot of him at all. Only 2 of their hitters have ever seen him. They're 1 for 7 off him with no walks, no strikeouts, no extra base hits. So I guess do with that information what you will, but there's not a whole lot to take away from that other than that at least he might have a little bit of an unfamiliarity edge there against Tampa because they haven't seen him, but I don't think there's any possible way you could trust Mitchell Parker here. But the money's coming in against Tampa. It is just hilarious, man. I look at these and I'm like, this team has a huge matchup advantage, like across the board. And then the money is like, nope. And I'm like, what the fuck? 83% of the tickets on Tampa and only 73% of the cash. They're a public road favorite. They've dropped from -145 to -139. Again, I think some of it is the price. That it's like, well, who's Tampa to really be favored by this much on the road? Basically against anybody. Except for maybe Colorado, if that. So I guess maybe that's the sentiment there. Is, again, money line, it's a lot about the price and not just about who you think is going to win the game. But I still don't like it. I mean, I'm not going to have my money on Washington here. I would not recommend it. Money coming in on the over a little bit as well. 89% of tickets on the over, 96% of the cash on the over. I mean, I would say if you want to do that, maybe you take Tampa to go over their team total and take that approach. I mean, Tampa's bullpen is good enough that I would worry about that part of the equation. So I think just Tampa to beat up on Mitchell Parker plus a bad Washington bullpen might be the way to go. Milwaukee, Toronto, as you can see in the title, we'll skip that. That's going to be a play, but you guys already know what it is. Actually, these 3 games in a row are my plays. How ridiculous is that? Miami and the Mets, I should say. The Miami Mets, the new team, and Pirates, Red Sox. We're going to get excited about that pitching matchup, but you know where I'm going with all these games already for the most part, man. So I'm skipping those for now. Seattle is at Cleveland. Cleveland, they just won 2 games against Tampa, like I said, and they're actually staying at home, and they were off yesterday. So Cleveland, no travel plus rest. Decent spot for Cleveland. Seattle is having to travel in from the Pacific Coast and start a road trip. They were also off yesterday, so both teams are rested here. But Seattle does have to travel to Cleveland. So Seattle, a little bit of a travel disadvantage, although a lot of times when you're going out on the road for the first time, you tend to have focus and you want to get the road trip off on the right foot. Seattle needs to win games, too, because they're still battling for their division. They're still battling to make the playoffs. Cleveland basically is out of it. So Seattle, from that standpoint, has a little bit more motivation. Seattle does have the better offense. I mean, Cleveland's offense is pitiful. Cleveland does have the better bullpen. I mean, I know, surprisingly. This is over the entire year, though, so I know Cleveland lost Clase and whoever their other pitcher was, or was it Ortiz? I don't even remember. So they lost a couple of guys in their pitching, on their pitching staff due to the gambling, although I don't know if Ortiz is really even that much of a loss, if that's who it was. But Cleveland does actually technically have the better bullpen because of that. I would say they do. Their ERA is actually significantly better than Seattle's. Both pretty good bullpens, though, and they're both rested. So if you want to look towards maybe an under in this game, the bullpens look like they're right for it, at least in this game. The total's pretty low in this game, too, but as far as that's concerned, I worry about the starting pitchers. George Kirby is pitching for the Mariners. His numbers are decent, 4.05 ERA, 1.18 whip, but he's just like all of Seattle's pitchers. He's way better at home. He's actually pretty ugly on the road. He turns into an ugly monster on the road, man. 5.08 ERA on the road, not good. He's had some really, really atrocious road starts in his young career, man. Although his most recent atrocious start was actually at home against the Mets, which I can't even really figure that one out. Even with that factored in, over 4 starts this month, he has a 3.8 ERA this month and 23-8 strikeout walk ratio. So he's still pitching pretty well this month, and he allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all but that weird, awful start against the Mets. He does get to face Cleveland here, who's a very, very weak offense. So that should be good for him. Up against Cleveland, he doesn't have good numbers against them, though. In 41 at-bats, 366 batting average allowed, 994 OPS, 6.3 strikeout walk ratio. So definitely some concerns for Kirby here. He's not good on the road. He's not good against Cleveland. So even though they have a bad offense, I don't know if I would trust Kirby with this matchup in this stadium, man. And with Seattle traveling, looks a little bit dicey for Seattle here, man. Although if you want Cleveland, you got to deal with Logan Allen, who has some issues. 4.35 ERA for him, 1.43 whip. That whip is definitely too high, putting way too many guys on base, but he does have the splits advantage, at least home versus road. He's got a 3.89 home ERA, which is a lot better. He's not in good form. He just got walloped for 9 earned runs at Texas, which is a bad offense. I think they're the worst offense at home in all of baseball by runs scored, which is really, really ridiculous. It's ridiculous that Texas has a decent record. That's just how great Texas's pitching is. And that's usually the type of team I like, by the way. But Logan Allen got absolutely destroyed by Texas, that bad offense in that pitcher-friendly park in Texas. He gave up 9 earned runs, 3 home runs, 5 innings pitched, 3 walks, 8 hits, just an awful outing from him. But his walk numbers have been awful all month. He's got a 19-14 strikeout walk ratio, 3 or more walks in every single outing, and a 5.95 ERA this month. It's not good, man. I mean, he gave up fewer runs in the other starts, only 1 and 2 in the other 3 starts, but he didn't go deep into any of them. He hasn't gone more than 5 innings in any of them. So Allen, he's got some problems. Up against Seattle, definitely a capable offense from Seattle. He actually has okay numbers against them, though, in 39 at-bats, 256 average allowed, 668 OPS. So he's held Seattle down. So based on the home road splits, the matchup numbers, you could definitely potentially have an argument that Cleveland is the right side in this game. And plus the travel spot for Seattle isn't that great. The money is looking like it is coming in on Cleveland. Seattle's up from minus 145 to minus 155. 69% of tickets on them. 59% of the cash coming in on Cleveland. I don't really disagree with it, man. I mean, I would probably agree with it. I would lean that way. And then the money's coming in on the under. Total juiced 8 to the under. 70% of tickets on the over, but 81% of the cash on the under. I mean, again, with the under, it makes sense in that you have two pretty good bullpens that are rested here, so at least there's that. The starting pitching is a little bit of a concern if you like the under, but at least with the travel, Seattle, they're hitting maybe a little bit cold, and we know Cleveland's offense is bad, although, again, good numbers against Kirby, so a little bit of a question mark there. So I think maybe the Cleveland side is actually the better way to look at that game. Get a really nice underdog price on that one. Probably full game because I do still think their bullpen is good. Yankees, unfortunately for me, as a Yankee hater and Red Sox fan, they're playing this awful Chicago White Sox team again. The White Sox, they're not good. They've lost 3 in a row, giving up double-digit runs, 2 games in a row, including last night, losing 10-4 to the Yankees to open the series. Yankees are fighting for playoff positioning, fighting for the division, obviously. Chicago, they're out of it, although usually you're going to step it up or at least try to when you get a team like the Yankees coming into your place, and especially when they embarrassed you last time out. So maybe you'll get a better focused performance out of the White Sox here. But the Yankees have the edge across the board, I would say here, man. I think the Yankees have the better bullpen, even though the bullpens aren't good. That's just how bad the White Sox bullpen is. The White Sox have one of the worst offenses in all of baseball, and the Yankees have one of the best. So the Yankees have a massive offensive edge in the game. Obviously, you know that means the Yankees are going to be a heavy favorite in this game, though. White Sox used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Yankees also used 4, although they have a more rested bullpen to some degree as well. Yankees have the better starter on the hill as well. Carlos Rodon, 3.24 ERA, 1.07 whip. Good numbers on the season. I like when these headshots don't look anything like they look because the Yankees, just for Devin Williams, hilariously, because he sucks, just for him, the Yankees started allowing beards this year. If you didn't know, the Yankees have been just, it's a stupid rule in my opinion. They've had this stupid uptight attitude for basically their entire history where you can have a mustache but you can't have a beard and you have to cut your hair. You can't have long hair. So it was ridiculous when Johnny Damon went from the Red Sox to them because he went from, the blue collar, grungy Red Sox, the dirty Red Sox boys, which I like that attitude way better, obviously. Damon, just ridiculous long hair. The team of idiots, the huge beard. He goes to the Yankees, he has to shave it all off, and then he just looks totally lame again. And I don't think that's who Damon really is. Although now, I don't know, Damon's like a Florida man now. He's got a man bun. I know he's getting pulled over for DUIs. He looks really fat now. But he also seems to be like a Trump backer. I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on with Johnny Damon. But Carlos Rodon, I went on a tangent there. Carlos Rodon doesn't look like this. In the headshot, he's got the clean-cut Yankees headshot, but if you've watched him pitch recently, he's got kind of shaggy hair and kind of a beard going on. So I like that, but it's he doesn't look anything like this right now, man. Rodon, he is not as good on the road, 3.62 ERA on the road. Hasn't really been that good this month, even though his 3.49 ERA is good. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 4 starts in a row. Yankees have won all 4 of those games, but the strikeout walk ratio is definitely a concern. 25 strikeouts and 18 walks. His walk rate is way too high right now, man. He's walked 5 batters in 3 of his last 6 outings. Is that what that is? 7 outings? Not great. And 4 in one of the other ones. So his walk rate, he's too wild right now, man. He's getting out of some jams right now. I don't know if that's going to matter against the White Sox, though, who have 28 career bats against him. Only 5 hitters have faced him before. And they only have 1 hit off him, which is a home run from Taylor. But Their numbers against Rodon are very bad. 11-4 strikeout walk ratio. So again, too many walks, but other than that, he dominates them. They can't hit him at all. 0.36 batting average and 299 OPS. I know it's a small sample size, but that is a laughably low batting average and OPS. He's going to be going up against Yendris Gomez for the White Sox. His numbers aren't good this year. His headshot is also alarmingly big. I'm like, why are you staring at me, bro? Why is your head this big? That headshot is way too big, dude. 4.73 ERA for him, 1.48 whip. Those numbers are not good. He's been good at home, though. Like, his road ERA is horrific, and his home ERA is good, 2.7 ERA at home. Try to figure that out. I don't know. I mean, he's been with a bunch of different teams. He was mostly coming out of the bullpen. He was with the Yankees, then he was with the Dodgers, and then the White Sox. He was coming out of the bullpen until the White Sox put him in the starting rotation, which I think has basically just been this month. And he's actually been good. He's gone 5 innings in 2 out of the 3 starts at least. I mean, that's pretty good for a converted reliever like him that you don't really expect a whole lot out of. 2.45 ERA, 16-5 strikeout walk ratio. That's pretty good. I mean, he's doing all right this month, although he faced Atlanta, Minnesota. Those aren't great offenses. Detroit is pretty good, though. So, yeah, Gomez, I mean, he's in decent form right now. He's actually in better form than Rodon is right now, believe it or not. And the Yankees have never faced him before. The Yankees might know a little bit about him because he was on their team this year, though. But he might actually be pretty pumped up, man, because this is going to be his first time facing the Yankees since they traded him away or whatever. So he might be extra pumped, even though I think he was on the Dodgers after the Yankees, if I said that right. But still, he might be pumped up for that reason, man. He gets to face the Yankees, but also it's the team that got rid of him earlier this year. So he might have a little bit of an extra motivational standpoint there, man. The Yankees are extremely public. 92% of tickets, only 90% of the cash. Money line's up from, it's down from minus 220 down from minus 220 to minus 211. Interesting. Money seems like it's, I don't know. There was a slight tick up on the total from 8.5 juice to the over to 9 juice to the under, but that's like a very minimal move, even though I know 9 is a key number. 64% of tickets and cash on the over. I think public in a Yankees game, they're pretty much always going to just run to the over here. I think I did say yesterday probably the Yankees over their team total was the way to look again, which I feel like I say that a lot recently because they're playing these bad teams with bad pitching staffs recently. But, I mean, that is also a way to look in this game maybe. But, I mean, you'd need the bullpen to help you out there, I think, because I might slightly disagree with that one, actually. I actually think I'm going to dial it back on that one this time, and I think this is maybe not as good of a spot to try a Yankees team total over. I actually think because Gomez is in decent form right now, he will be pumped up for this. He's unfamiliar to the Yankees lineup here. I actually think a first 5-inning under is actually the best play in this game, believe it or not, because I think both starting pitchers might do well here, which I just laid out, which you can see there. I don't want any part of the bullpens, but I actually think that might be the approach in this game, as ridiculous as that might sound. Anaheim is at Houston. Houston played yesterday. They finished their series with Colorado with a 1-run win over this bad Rocky team. Houston still having some offensive struggles here, man, but they're not traveling. They're staying at home, but they did have to play yesterday, and Anaheim did not. So Anaheim does have a rest advantage here, but they're traveling in, but they're not traveling far. They're already in Texas, so they're up in Arlington in the Dallas area. And they might be in a bit of a foul mood here, man, because they lost 20-3 to Texas. Like, who the fuck gives up 20 runs to Texas in their home stadium? I know I mentioned one of the pitchers I just talked about gave up 9 earned runs to them. Was it Kirby? I forget. One of the guys gave up 9 earned runs to them. It wasn't Kirby. It was somebody else, which is not a good sign. But, yeah, Texas, I mean, this is a bad offense, and they play in a pitcher-friendly park. They're really bad offensively at home. I did say on my show I thought the Texas over team total, believe it or not, actually kind of made sense in that game, and they went over, needless to say. But that's such an embarrassing result for Anaheim, a 20-3 loss. I think they're going to be focused after that, man, because they don't have a whole lot left to play for, of course. We know that Houston is still playing to try to win the division. It's a close divisional race here. Houston has to make sure they make the playoffs. They want to win the division, so they do have motivation. But I think both teams have motivation. Anaheim is rested. Anaheim's bullpen is bad, though. Houston has the better bullpen. I would say at this point, I'm not even sure who has the better offense at this point, to be honest, man. Houston's up here at 13th. Anaheim is at 16th. That is a close call offensively. So both teams kind of mid-tier offenses. Houston used 5 relief pitchers yesterday, and we know they're dealing with some bullpen injuries. So Houston, I mean, their bullpen is not very well rested here, so that's kind of an issue. So the bullpens in this game may actually be a bit fadeable. So keep that in mind, because when you look at this starting pitching matchup, I think there's probably almost only one way to go here, man. And I know it does look like the situational spot might actually be an advantage to Anaheim, because they're going to come in embarrassed. They're only traveling from the Dallas area down to Houston, so it's not a lot of travel. They're already in the time zone. Houston played yesterday, and Anaheim did not. Yes, those are all advantages to Anaheim, but can you really put your money on Anaheim with Tyler Anderson pitching, plus Anaheim's bullpen, even though it is rested? That seems like a dicey situation, man. 4.73 ERA for him, 1.4 whip. Those are not good numbers. He's particularly bad on the road, 5.74 ERA on the road. This month, he's been awful in 4 starts. Anaheim's lost all of them. They've lost 6 starts in a row of his. He's got a 6.63 ERA this month, 16-10 strikeout walk ratio. He actually did hold the Cubs to 2 earned runs last time out, and they still lost that game too, but he was awful prior to that. Against Houston, I don't believe he has good numbers either. Let me pull them up here. No, he does not. I look at all this before I do the show, but it's hard to keep all that in mind. 137 at bats against him, 32-9 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good, but 292 batting average allowed and 832 OPS allowed. Those are not good numbers at all. So Houston definitely hits Anderson. He's going up against Christian Javier, who just came back from being injured for, I think, like an entire season recently. So he has not pitched much this year. Those numbers aren't good so far. 5.4 ERA, 1.5 whip. He's been better at home, 3.38 ERA, but it's such a small sample size. Like, what can you take away from that? He had 2 home starts, actually, but in one of them, he only went 3 innings. So they pulled him after 50 pitches. I don't know what that was about. If there was a rain delay, if he got injured, maybe, I don't know why, because the bullpen actually got totally lit up in that game, and they wound up losing really, really ugly 12-0, and it wasn't really Javier's fault, but he's still not good, man. I mean, his walk numbers are still bad across this man. Against Baltimore, he only went 3 innings and 2 innings in those outings, so that's not a good sign. Even though he pitched all right against the Red Sox in his first outing and actually got a win. He's got a 10-6 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. I don't know if we're ready to trust Javier here right now, man. He does have good numbers against the Angels in 61 at-bats, 29-6 strikeout walk ratio, 164 average allowed, 485 OPS. So he does have good matchup numbers, which would lead you to think that, well, that means Houston probably has the edge in the starting pitching matchup. I wouldn't really disagree with that, but I mean, my preference in this game is probably an over, but the money's coming in against the over, and it is coming in against Houston, which I could kind of see the argument for fading Houston still. Like I said, it's kind of about the spot and maybe about the fact they're probably favored too heavily here. But again, the spot is not great for them. It's a bad rest situation for them. They're down from minus 170 to minus 159 on the money line, 88% of tickets, 50% of the cash on them. Total sitting at 9, so the odds makers are telling you they feel like this might be a bit of a higher scoring game, but 73% of tickets on the over and only 58% of the cash on the over. So the cash is kind of disagreeing with that, but I mean, Anderson plus this Anaheim bullpen looks really ugly to me. Javier, you don't even know what you're going to get out of him, and then you have a Houston bullpen that has little rest. So to me, it does seem like an over might be the preferred way to look in this game. If you went Houston over their team total, I guess I maybe wouldn't hate that either, although their bats might be a little bit tired, although that kind of contradicts the full game over a little bit. But yeah, I mean, full game over, I mean, I probably wouldn't really necessarily argue with you about Houston over their team total either, though. To me, it looks like it's going to be a higher scoring game. I could be wrong about that. Nate, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Nate coming in, does that mean I'm about to talk about the Royals? Yeah, you know that's what it means. This is a game, oh God. These starting pitchers, man. This is a vomit-inducing pitching matchup, to be honest. This is so bad. Sorry, I'm going to say that about Seth Lugo. Now, the advanced analytics guys were probably right about him, to some extent at least. Kansas City's returning home from a road trip, which isn't that great, although they only went to Detroit and Chicago, the White Sox. They did win the White Sox series, which isn't really saying that much. Kansas City's trying to stay alive. I think they're technically still alive in the division and in the wild card race, so they do have motivation here at least. But Detroit probably wants to hold them off. I mean, Detroit, they do have some padding in the division, so the motivation is probably stronger on Kansas City, but I think both teams do kind of have reason to show up in this one. Kansas City, again, they're returning home from a road trip, which I always point out tends to be a bit of a distracted spot because you have to get back to family life, but they're facing the Detroit Tigers, man, so I don't think you're not going to overlook Detroit at the very least, even though you will still have stuff to do at home. Detroit, their travel spot is actually pretty bizarre here. They're actually traveling back from the Pacific Coast. They're actually at the A's in Sacramento. They got swept in that series, and now they're coming back to Kansas City. So it's a bizarre travel spot where they're having to travel back to the Central Time Zone from the Pacific Time Zone. They did get yesterday off. Both teams had yesterday off, but that's still a bizarre spot for them, though. Although, on the other hand, Detroit might be a little bit pissed off because that was an ugly series, losing to the A's. Although the A's are better than people think they are, man. Even though I know they've been really bad at home, that stadium's really it's not really a home stadium. But the A's do have a good offense at the very least, and their pitching has been a bit better recently too. But Detroit got embarrassed. They lost 7-0 in their last game against them, so they might be a bit pissed off coming into this one. As far as the bullpens, both teams have fairly decent bullpens, although Detroit's has kind of tailed off a bit. I'm looking at the offense here, my mistake. Detroit obviously has the better offense. They still have a top 10 offense, although barely. Kansas City, they're a bottom 10 offense. We know this. They're not a good offense. Though actually they've been a little bit better recently. Kansas City does have the better bullpen. They're 7th in bullpen ERA this season. Detroit's down at 15th, although neither bullpen is that bad, and both bullpens are rested. So the bullpens are all right, but these starting pitchers, they're not all right. The kids are not all right. Chris Paddock is pitching for Detroit. I mean, he's not that good. 4.98 ERA, 1.26 whip isn't that bad. He's been bad on the road, 5.65 ERA on the road, 5.67, my mistake. But whatever, it's almost the same. Detroit got him right before the trade deadline. He's made 5 starts with them after they got him from Minnesota. He's been pretty shaky, man. In the 4 starts in the month of August, he has a 6.2 ERA and a 9-5 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. He just faced Kansas City, so I think both of these starters actually just faced these opposing lineups, so both starters might have a little bit of an extra disadvantage because both starting lineups just saw them, although it might be a little bit less of a disadvantage for the pitchers because these starting lineups have both seen these starting pitchers multiple times already, so there's a lot of familiarity here. I mean, Paddock got traded within the division, so the Royals have seen him a bunch anyway. But in that start against the Royals, it looked pretty good because he held them to 1 run in 5 innings, but he only had 1 strikeout, so his strikeout rate is just not there. He had some decent strikeout performances early in the season, but it's not good right now. He's just not blowing guys away. He's not fooling guys. Even his starts that look good are somewhat questionable, and they're against bad offenses. He's faced bad offenses over the last 4, although I know he actually did well against Arizona in his first start with Detroit. Maybe he was pumped up to be on a contending team, but since then he's faced these weak offenses, man. His former team, Minnesota, twice, and then the White Sox and Kansas City. So not a good sign that he was struggling through those starts. Up against Kansas City, my mistake. Kansas City has seen a lot of them, and even though he did well against them last time up for the most part, his numbers still aren't very good against them. 63 at-bats. I told you they have a lot of at-bats against them, a decent amount. 13-6 strikeout walk ratio is not great. 270 batting average allowed and 841 OPS allowed. So even though he pitched well against them last time out, he still doesn't have good numbers against KC. He's going up against Seth Lugo. His numbers are starting to slip, even though he's had a pretty good ERA and a pretty decent whip over the last couple seasons, man. But either the analytics guys are right, or maybe because he's kind of old, 35 years old, maybe he's starting to wear down a little bit this season. That is possible. He's got a 3.99 ERA and 1.24 whip this season, which is still not terrible. And he does still have a good home ERA, 3.28 at home. His recent home starts have been a little bit dicey, too. He had a pretty good one against Texas and a pretty bad one against Washington. But overall, his numbers have been bad this month, even though his team has won 3 of the 5 still. So Kansas City's offense has actually done a little bit better behind him recently. But this month, 8.87 ERA and 16-14 strikeout walk ratio. We all know that's bad. And he's failed to make it 5 innings in 4 out of the 5 starts. He's definitely in bad form right now, man. And he's doing that against somewhat weak offenses too. Minnesota, Washington, Texas, although Detroit and Toronto are pretty good, but that's still not good. It's not a good sign, man. Up against Detroit, where we know Detroit has a big offensive edge in this game at the very least. His numbers are mediocre against Detroit in 135 at bats, 35-15 strikeout walk ratio is not terrific. 244 average allowed is pretty low, but they have 8 bombs off of him. 787 OPS is a little bit high. So I don't know if I really trust Lugo in this one either. Zach with his go Royals here. Man, it's a little bit iffy for the Royals in this one, man. Although on the one hand, you would think that Detroit having the way better record over Kansas City being a favorite here, you would think that the public would be coming in on Detroit given that line, because the line looks pretty weird. Like, why would Kansas City be a favorite here? But maybe the public is actually looking and saying, well, Lugo has a way better ERA than Paddock, so that's why. So interesting. The public actually seems to be slightly on Kansas City, 59% of tickets on them, only 54% of the cash, and they're up a little bit from -115 to -117. Money is coming in on the over, though, and that's probably my preferred approach in this game. I don't really love the side at all. I think it's difficult to gauge what's going to happen with these starting pitchers. 90% of tickets, 96% of the cash on the over. Totals up from 8.5 juice to the over to 9 juice to the over. Yeah, you do have to worry about the bullpens, but if the starting pitchers don't last too long in this game, that means there's going to be extra bullpen usage in this game. So I have a tendency, when I like the over, I have a tendency to just do full game almost every single time. It's a rare situation where I'll be like, yeah, you want to go over first 5 innings, although I could see the argument for that too, because the bullpens are decent and rested here. So I could see that argument. I almost said rested. I have a one-track mind. So I could see the argument for either full game over. If you want to do that, you got to make sure you get over the 9 at a decent price. You don't want to have to go over 9.5, because 9 is a key number. It breaks the 4-4 tie. Yes, I know Kansas City's offense isn't very good, but they at least get a bad pitcher that they're facing here. If you can still find an 8.5 to the over at around -120, that's not bad either, because then a 9 would win for you. First 5 inning over also is certainly an option in that game as well, by the way. As I already pointed out, this is going to be a long video again, man. Fuck. San Diego at Minnesota. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Minnesota's returning home from the White Sox and Toronto. So Minnesota was on the road. They're going to be in maybe a distracted spot here, returning home from a road trip. You got family life to get back to. Minnesota doesn't have a whole lot to play for, although San Diego is probably a playoff team, and they're coming in. So will Minnesota get up for that reason, even though it's an interleague opponent? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they'll get up for it, but I don't know, man. It's unclear. When you have a team that's out of it like this, returning home from a road trip, sometimes they don't really have total focus in a game like this. In San Diego, you know that they do have motivation at the very least, because they got to keep winning, as they're 2 games behind in their division. They have a good record, though, so they're probably going to make the playoffs anyway, but they're playing for playoff positioning. They're in a weird spot, though, because they're coming in from Seattle. So they're traveling from the Pacific Coast. They just lost that series to Seattle. It was a pretty close series, hard-fought series. They're coming in from Seattle, so they're having to travel, switch time zones here. Neither team played yesterday, I believe, so the bullpens are rested. San Diego has the way better bullpen of the two, though. Both offenses actually have struggled this year. Even though San Diego has a lot of offensive talent, it just hasn't been that great. They're 19th offensively. Minnesota actually is ahead of them in OPS, although I might argue that San Diego does have the better offense just because of what they're capable of. Minnesota, I don't love their offense, and they did trade away Correa as well, so maybe San Diego might have to actually give them a slight offensive edge here. Starting pitching in this game is a little bit interesting. Nestor Cortez is pitching for San Diego. Not great numbers so far. 4.66 ERA, 1.34 whip. He's been really bad on the road. 8.74 ERA on the road. He started the season with Milwaukee, famously got absolutely bombed in his opening start against the Yankees, his former team. Did well after that, but then I think he got injured. He got traded at some point right before the trade deadline or something like that. San Diego acquired him. He's been okay with San Diego in 4 starts. Had a couple of shorter starts earlier, and then they started ramping him up a little bit further to the point where he's now making full starts again. He has a 3 ERA with them and a 17-8 strikeout walk ratio. It's definitely better than what he did in that Yankees start at the beginning of the season. So he hasn't been that bad with San Diego. It is a pitcher-friendly park for them, although in this start he is facing a pretty weak Minnesota lineup here, so maybe he'll do well in this start. He might be in a letdown spot too, though, because he's coming off a 6-inning, 1-hit shutout performance against the division rival Dodgers. That was a huge game for Cortez. So it's possible that he kind of has a little bit of a letdown here, although the good thing for him is he only threw 81 pitches in that start, so he didn't get overextended. He was actually really efficient in that start, so he didn't throw that many pitches. Minnesota only has 4 hitters who have ever faced him before. And aside from Buxton, who has 2 home runs off him, the rest of the lineup doesn't do a whole lot. Jeffers has the other home run off him, but the lineup has not done well against him. In 21 at-bats, they have 8 strikeouts, no walks, 238 average. The OPS is high at 952 just because Buxton 2 dingers off him, like I said. But I think Cortez may pitch well in this outing, man. I mean, it's a small sample size. You can't really take away from home runs, which are kind of the least predictable part of that whole thing. Zebby Matthews is going to be pitching from Minnesota. He's been up and down between the minors. This lists him as having been on the DL, but I don't think that's actually true because I think he's pitching on regular rest here. He's got a 5.3 ERA this year, 1.52 whip. Obviously, that's not good. He's been better at home, though, 4.42 ERA at home. He's still a guy that has a lot of upside, man, in my opinion. Like, he's this young prospect. He's been dealing with some injuries. Has a weird name, which that is not his birth name, by the way, but I don't even remember what his birth name is. I don't know if he legally changed his name to this, but I don't even know where this nickname came from because it sounds so stupid. But this month, he's been okay with a 25-9 strikeout walk ratio, 4.66 ERA. So he's been mediocre. I mean, he's kind of been handling himself decently. I don't mean he's jerking off in the clubhouse. Against San Diego, he only has 17 at-bats against them, although the majority of their lineup has faced him at least once. They have a 294 batting average off him, though, and an 871 OPS. 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. So in that small sample size, Matthews' numbers are actually not that good against them. So I do think Matthews may not have the upper hand in the starting pitching matchup. Looks like the money, again, is kind of fading San Diego, though. They're up from -110 to -129. They're a road favorite. They're not good on the road, so that's one thing to keep in mind. San Diego has a below 500 road record. They're pretty bad on the road. 88% of tickets, only 76% of the cash on them. So the public taking San Diego here, I think some of that might be the they need to win effect here. Seems like what the professional money is saying is that we think San Diego's favored by too much here, although based on what I just showed you, it seems like Cortez might have the upper hand in the starting pitching matchup. I mean, he's probably the more trustworthy of these pitchers at this point. Not really anything going on with the total right now. It's just sitting at 8.5 juice to the over. It looks like the 98% of tickets and cash on the over. I don't even know what that really means. San Diego does have a pretty significant bullpen edge, though. So I think if you are fading San Diego and you're going to take a shot with Minnesota, I think you probably want to do it first 5 innings. Although I know San Diego has that weird travel spot there, so it's not the greatest spot for them. It's a weird game. Weird game in general, man. We're already over an hour. Oh, my God, no. Cubs at Colorado. Both of these teams actually played yesterday, so there's no rest here for either team. Colorado's returning home from going to Pittsburgh and Houston. So Colorado returning home from a road trip. Again, not a very good spot. You have to return to family life, but it is the Cubs coming into their house, so maybe they'll be focused just because one of the better teams in the NL is coming in to play them. The Cubs, they're coming in from the Pacific Coast. They just got swept by the Giants. The Cubs are playing some ugly baseball right now. I mean, their offense particularly has been pathetic recently, which I pointed out in my underplay yesterday. Cubs have not been good recently, man, but that is bad, getting swept by a San Francisco team that is not going to make the playoffs. The Cubs have to keep going, man. They're going to make sure they don't miss the playoffs here. They're going to make sure they at least get a wild card spot because they're trailing Milwaukee right now by 6.5 games here. Milwaukee hasn't been playing great either, but the Cubs haven't taken advantage of that. Cubs are having to travel from the Pacific Coast into high elevation here. Not necessarily the easiest travel spot, although Colorado returning home from a road trip. It is still a worse spot for them. We also know the Cubs have the edge across the board here, obviously, but you're going to have to lay a huge favorite price with them. Cubs have the better offense, the better bullpen, and the better starting pitcher on the mound. I mean, all of that is pretty obvious in this one. But again, it's all about price in a game like this. The Cubs actually have pretty good bullpen rest, too. Only used 2 relievers yesterday, although so did Colorado. But it's Colorado's bullpen, man. They're not good. Cade Horton is pitching for the Cubs. He's having a really nice season, man. As a young guy, I think this might be his rookie year, and he's got a 2.88 ERA, 1.16 whip. I hear a lot of rain outside right now. I'm supposed to be going to 9 Inch Nails, but it's an indoor concert tonight. But, man, that weather sounds terrible. Horton has good numbers this year, but he's been worse on the road, 4.08 ERA on the road. And if you like the Cubs, if you like Horton, he's in really good form recently, but you're going to have to trust him at Coors Field, which might be a little bit of a difficult ask. He did face Colorado earlier this year, but it was at home. He did well against them. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs allowed, 6 strikeouts and 1 walk. But will he be able to handle the elevation? I mean, he probably will, to be honest. I mean, he's been really, really good recently. He's allowed 1 or fewer earned run now in 7 starts in a row and in 8 of his last 9 outings. That's crazy. Every start this month, although in one of them he only went 2 2/3 innings against Milwaukee. I don't know what happened in that game because he only gave up 1 earned run in that game. But 0.72 ERA this month, 27-7 strikeout walk ratio, good ratio. I mean, these numbers are really good for him, man. And the Cubs have won 5 of his last 6 starts, and he's actually picked up a win in all of those 5. Against Colorado, they don't have a lot of at-bats against him. Like I said, he faced them earlier this year, and they seem to have a lot of lineup changes since then. They have 12 at-bats against him, a 250 average allowed. 857 OPS is a little bit high just because Doyle has a home run off him. But I'm not going to put much weight into that. I mean, I think Horton, you probably want to lean towards him pitching well in this game, would be my opinion. Herman Marquez is pitching for Colorado, 5.67 ERA, 1.64 whip. Basically, every one of Colorado's starters has bad numbers. He's got a 5.31 ERA at home, so he's actually a little bit better at home. He's been on the DL, so he hasn't pitched for over a month now, and he wasn't good in July. He had a 6 ERA in July with a 12.8 strikeout walk ratio. I mean, he actually was a little bit better for a stretch before that. He actually had a pretty good June, believe it or not. But he was bad in July. He's been injured since then. He's got to face the Cubs here. His numbers are not horrible against the Cubs. In 87 at-bats, 19-6 strikeout walk ratio, 264 average allowed, and 714 OPS. So he hasn't been that bad against the Cubs. And with pitchers, even though I know he's a really bad pitcher generally, but with pitchers like this, when they return home from, when they come off the disabled list and they're veterans like this, a lot of times they will be pumped up, man, and they'll be ready to go. They'll have made rehab starts. The team will kind of rally behind them. So I could see him actually pitching fairly well in this game. So I actually have a slight lean to the under in the first 5 innings in this game. I don't really want to deal with Colorado's bullpen here. Total's down from 11.5 to 11. I know it's iffy to go with an under in a Coors Field game, but that's my lean here. 76% of tickets on the over, but 56% of cash on the under. So money is coming in on the under, and the Cubs are just way public. 94% of tickets, only 91% of the cash. They're down from minus 230 to minus 220 on the money line. I don't think I would attempt to do anything with anything on the Cubs side there. Texas at the A's in this terrible AAA stadium again that the A's playing. The A's coming off a sweep of Detroit. Like I said, they must be feeling pretty high on themselves after that. Texas still, I think, not eliminated from the playoff race, so they're still at least trying here, I think. The A's, they'll probably still show up, even though they're coming off that big sweep of Detroit. It's a divisional matchup, man, so I expect the A's to kind of be focused again here. Both teams were off yesterday, so there's rest on both sides. Texas is coming in, starting a road trip with momentum. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, including that 20-3 blowout over Anaheim. So Texas, they're in pretty good form right now, and they got momentum going out on the road. So that's not a bad spot for Texas, really. And they do have motivation because they got to keep winning here. So that's not horrible for them either. Texas has the better bullpen here. Both bullpens are rested. Texas obviously has the better bullpen. The A's have the significantly better offense here, though. But Texas, you have to give them. Texas is going to have the pitching edge, I think, across the board, but if you want to make that argument, you have to say that Jack Leiter is going to be in his best form here. So that's what you need here. Jack Leiter has been really difficult to predict, man, because he's a young, hard-throwing pitcher. He throws a lot harder than his father, Al Leiter, did. He's a different style of pitcher, but he's just been way too wild, man. That's been his problem. He has the ability to strike out guys at a high rate at the major league level, but he's got to get his control under control. He's got a 3.81 ERA this year, which is still pretty good. 1.31 whip is a bit too high. He is bad on the road, though. 4.81 ERA on the road. That's not good. This month, he has a 2.7 ERA, which is good, but his team has lost 4 of his 5 outings. He only got a win in his last outing, or they only got a win as well in his last outing, which was a really excellent outing. He went 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, gave up no runs, only 2 hits against Cleveland. Very, very good outing for Leiter. One of his better outings of his career, maybe his best. He was struggling before that, though, man. Even though he has a 2.7 ERA this month, he has a 28-12 strikeout walk ratio. So just like I said, he's not allowing a ton of runs, but he was inefficient, wasn't going deep into outings, had a very high strikeout rate, but a very high walk rate. But maybe that most recent outing is an indicator that maybe he's coming into form here, man. But it was against Cleveland. Their offense is really bad. The A's offense is not bad. His numbers against the A's are kind of all over the place. 33 at-bats, 8-6 strikeout walk ratio, 242 average allowed, 904 OPS, though. So it's a high OPS. He's going up against Jeffrey Springs, who has been one of the better pitchers for the A's, really. 4.15 ERA, 1.18 whip. That's not bad. He hasn't been as good at home, 4.73 ERA. I mean, you understand why, because it's a very hitter-friendly park. This month, he hasn't been that great. 5.12 ERA, 15-6 strikeout walk ratio. Not excellent numbers for him this month. He's not going terribly deep into his outings, so he's not in exactly the greatest form right now, even though his overall numbers are all right. His numbers against Texas are okay, in 37 at-bats, 8-0 strikeout walk ratio, 270 average allowed, 730 OPS. So his numbers are all right. I mean, I could definitely see an argument that maybe you could almost argue for an under in this game, to be honest. Unders in both of the most hitter-friendly ballparks, at the A's and at Colorado. What a day, man. 75% tickets on the over, 65% of the cash on the over. Probably if you wanted to do the under, you might want to avoid the A's bullpen still, though, even though it is rested. It's not a good bullpen. Maybe first 5 innings makes sense. Total sitting at 10.5, juice to the under. It does look like the money's coming in on the under, but it looks like the stronger market read may actually be on the A's side. They're up from -120 to -141. 66% of tickets on Texas, but 65% of the cash coming in on the A's. I mean, the A's do have the travel edge, like I said, but it is still, I don't think it's a negative spot for Texas starting a road trip. I think it's more of the Texas needs to win factor here that tends to get overrated a little bit. But do you really think the A's are worth being priced like that as a favorite like that? Probably not, although it's going to look strange to the public, or they're going to see Texas after a blowout win as a huge, well, not huge, but it's a pretty significant underdog here. The public's going to see that and want to take Texas. So I guess keep that in mind. If you do like the A's here, it is an anti-public play. I would probably limit it to the first 5 innings because Texas does have a big bullpen edge. So do with all that information what you will. Although, again, I think the A's could be in a little bit of a letdown spot as well. But Texas, again, off of scoring 20 runs, you got to be feeling pretty high on yourselves about that. So maybe they are a little bit fadeable here. Arizona at the Dodgers. This spot, it seems like the schedule makers intentionally set up this spot to favor the Dodgers. The Dodgers are staying at home, and they had yesterday off. They're coming off a sweep of Cincinnati. They've won 4 games in a row. So the Dodgers, they do have momentum right now. Will they overlook Arizona, though, because Arizona's out of it? I don't know, because it's a divisional matchup still, and the Dodgers need to keep winning to maintain their lead in the division. Arizona, you know they're going to be focused too, but they're coming in from Milwaukee, and they played yesterday, and they just beat Milwaukee the last 2 games of that 4-game series, and they're having to now travel to the Pacific Coast for a late game, so they're going to have to adjust time zones here. So even though Arizona should be focused to play the Dodgers, they're coming off some big wins, and again, they played yesterday, and Arizona's bullpen is so bad that they have a bullpen disadvantage in this game too. although they only use Rashi, and I guess they use Beeks, my man, Beeks for 4 pitches, but he hadn't pitched in 4 days, basically, so he'll be available again tonight. So Arizona's better pitchers are all available tonight. Beeks, whose parents I did karaoke with the night of his Major League debut with the Red Sox. That's a story I've told on the show. But yeah, the Dodgers, they have a rested bullpen, and they surprisingly actually have the better bullpen. The Dodgers, you got to give them the better offense here too, I would say. Let me see which team actually has the better OPS. Yeah, it is the Dodgers. Arizona, not that far behind, though. So 2 good offenses here. Starting pitching, you got Zach Gallen for Arizona here. He's got a 5.13 ERA, 1.31 whip on the season. Not good numbers. I mean, he's better than this. It's just kind of crazy how lost of a season this has been for Arizona, with like him and Fott both not pitching anywhere near what they're capable of. Gallen's a little bit better on the road, 5.07 ERA on the road. He's actually been good this month with a 3.1 ERA and a 20-6 strikeout walk ratio, allowing 3 or fewer earned runs in every outing and going at least 6 innings in all but 1 outing. So Gallen, he's turned a corner. It looks like at least he's pitching better right now. He's in better form right now. Going up against the Dodgers, his numbers are not great. In 142 at-bats, 31-11 strikeout walk ratio, 282 batting average allowed, and 782 OPS allowed. So his numbers not really that good against the Dodgers. You got to say he's still the worst of these 2 starting pitchers. So I think the Dodgers, they have a rest edge, a travel edge, a hitting edge, a bullpen edge, and a starting pitching edge here. So it's like, doesn't that mean you should play the Dodgers in this game? Well, the market read seems to be saying no. Although the Dodgers have Blake Snell on the mound. Like I said, I think he's the better of these 2 pitchers. I mean, his career numbers would say that. But also, he is pitching well right now. Both starting pitchers are pitching well right now. Snell has a 1.97 ERA this season, which is pretty good. Really good, but a 1.38 whip is not that good. He's got to get that whip under control, man. Snell is a guy, throughout his career, he's been wild. He walks too many guys, but he strikes out a ton of guys, and he's not very hittable at all. That's the way that he does things. He has a .9 home ERA this year, so he's been really good at home. He's only made 6 starts so far, though. But the Dodgers have won 4 of them. Both of the games that they lost were on the road. This month, he has a 1.96 ERA, 26-7 strikeout walk ratio. So his numbers, he's pitching well this month, man. He's allowed no more than 3 earned runs in any of these outings, so that's a good sign. He is pitching well. I would argue he's probably even in the better form than Gallen is right now, and he's got the much better matchup numbers, and 102 at-bats, 39-5 strikeout walk ratio is what he has against Arizona, 186 batting average, 644 OPS, because they do have 5 home runs off him, although spread out only across 3 batters. Gurriel and Marte each have 2 home runs off him, so if he's able to pitch around them, we'll see if he can, but I think he'll be able to. But the money is seemingly fading the Dodgers. They're up from -185 to -187. The thing is, I think it's another case where you know that it's the Dodgers and you're basically going to get charged a high price for the Dodgers pretty much every time out there, especially with a guy like Snell on the mound who has a lot of weight behind his name. 93% of tickets, only 83% of the cash on them. So the money seems to be fading them, although I would not want to try to fade the Dodgers here still, man. I mean, to be honest, I would probably still lean to the Dodgers, maybe on a run line in this game. That's probably still the way I would lean. I could see the first 5 innings going under just because both these starting pitchers are in good form right now. Snell has really good numbers. Gallen against Arizona, and Gallen's numbers aren't really that bad against the Dodgers given who the Dodgers are. 71% of tickets, only 66% of cash on the over. Total, not really much of a move there. 8 juice to the over, up to 8.5. First 5 inning under, possibly worth a look in that one. And maybe kind of sneaky because Gallen's numbers are really bad this season, but he's better recently. And then Baltimore, San Francisco is the last game on the board. San Francisco played yesterday, and both teams played yesterday. San Francisco is staying at home. They've won 5 games in a row, but they beat Milwaukee, and they just swept the Cubs. So you got to think they could be in a bit of a letdown spot here, man, just basking in it at home. They pretty much know they're not going anywhere now, and now after sweeping the Cubs, they got to face Baltimore. Is that really going to bring their focus? Probably not. Baltimore probably a little bit angry off of getting swept by the Red Sox, although that was a big series, and it was a series with a lot of close games, too. Baltimore and the Red Sox have played a lot of close games but the Red Sox swept all 4 games against them, even though they were all close. Baltimore had swept the prior 2-game series at Fenway, so the road team won all 6 of those games, but all of those games are close, too, so that's crazy. The biggest margin of victory was the Red Sox 5-0 win in that series. Baltimore, they're now having to travel out to the Pacific Coast, but it is the start of a road trip, so a lot of times you finish a series like that, you go out on the road, you forget about it, you get to focus, start a new road trip, but they're having to travel to the Pacific Coast, and that series against the Red Sox probably was more meaningful than a series against the Giants in this battle of orange here, orange and black. So it's still not really a great spot for Baltimore, to be honest. Like I said, both teams played yesterday. San Francisco has the better bullpen, obviously. Baltimore used 3 relievers yesterday. It looks like San Francisco light bullpen usage yesterday. So San Francisco better bullpen and better bullpen rest. Baltimore has the better offense, although both these offenses are pretty much bottom 10 offenses. They're both not good. Baltimore may have cracked the top 10. Let me see. Where are they at? Yeah, they're actually 18th right now. So Baltimore, they're the better offense, but, I weigh pitching over offense. Starting pitching matchup, you got Dean Creamer for Baltimore. He's actually been better as of late. He's a guy that I've made fun of throughout his career because he's not that good, but he's not that bad this year. Mostly recently, he's not that bad. 4.19 ERA, 1.23 whip, pretty solid numbers. He's not as good on the road, 4.97 ERA on the road. This is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Like I said, this month he's been good, 3.81 ERA, 23-4 strikeout walk ratio. That's pretty good. He got lit up in his last start against Houston, but Houston had just faced him to start before that, so he might have been a little bit of a disadvantage there because Houston had just seen him, so they knew what he was going to throw at them because he shut them out the previous time. So they got some revenge off him. They bombed him. They hit 3 home runs off him, but it wasn't even that bad of a start otherwise, even though it looks really ugly. 6 earned runs allowed in 5 innings, but he only allowed 7 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, so I don't even think he was really that bad in that game. And he's stepping down in class to face this very bad San Francisco lineup. His numbers are questionable against San Francisco and 62 at-bats, 19-6 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good. 258 average allowed, not bad, but 807 OPS is high because he has allowed 4 home runs to them. 2 of them are from Devers, but that's the thing. This is a situation where Devers is actually probably going to help the Giants lineup because he actually has good numbers off of Creamer, and of course he was in Creamer's division before, so Devers is the most familiar of their bats against him, even though that trade seems to have not worked out well. Devers did have one really big offensive game the other day, and everybody was freaking out about it. And I'm like, but he's been terrible with San Francisco pretty much since they got him, and they've been a bad team. Yeah, whatever. But both these teams are out of it, although Robbie Ray is pitching for San Francisco, and he's been the better of the 2 pitchers on the season. Really nice numbers this season from him. 2.93 ERA, 1.15 whip, 1.14 whip, excuse me. A little bit better at home, 2.84 ERA at home. Decent numbers this month as well, 2.93 ERA, 24-9 strikeout walk ratio. He's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in every start going all the way back through his first start of last month as well. San Francisco's won 4 of his 5 starts this month. All that's pretty good, although a little bit iffy last time out, though. He held Milwaukee to 3 earned runs. His team won the game in 5 innings, but he walked 4 guys and didn't strike out anybody. So that looks like his command was kind of wavering in that start. Maybe it's a blip. Maybe he'll pitch better here because Baltimore is certainly not as prolific of an offense. Baltimore only has 3 hitters who've ever seen him before, and the only guy who has any hits off him is Mountcastle, although he is 4 for 12 off him with a home run and a walk and 3 strikeouts. But overall, they have a 267 average, 779 OPS on him, but it's pretty much all Mountcastle. So Ray, he'll be unfamiliar to most of their lineups, so I think he does have an edge for that reason. The money's coming in on the Orioles, though. Giants down from -145 to -138 here on the money line. 80% of tickets on them, 67% of the cash coming in on Baltimore. So the money's coming in on the Orioles. I don't know if I necessarily see it and agree with that, although San Francisco, they are in a letdown spot, like I said, and just staying at home, so there is that. Baltimore, if you like them, you have to deal with them traveling across the country, though, and maybe you want to only go with them first 5 innings because the bullpen advantage, I think, is significantly on the side of San Francisco, so maybe you would just go with the first 5 innings. Could be at least a duel between Creamer and Ray. It's a low total at 7.5. Juice to the under as well, but 58% of tickets, 70% of the cash on the over. I don't know if I agree with an over here, man. I mean, Baltimore's bullpen is the only really like horrible part of the under equation here. So if you can get past that, I think an under is actually maybe some way to look at this game as well. Let's go to the best bets. I'm going to do it now because they're all in baseball. I'll just do it now, and then I will talk about college football. Man, there's a lot to talk about here. Baseball, we're going to have all unders, like I said. We got some young, interesting pitchers going today, man. We're going to start with Brewers, Blue Jays, under 7.5. It's a key number. It's 7. You can find the under 7.5 at a good price right now, minus 105. You can pay a little bit more for the 8, but I think it's a little bit useless because between the 7.5 and 8 is not a huge difference there. Like, you don't go through the key number 7 by doing that, or onto or off of the key number 7, if you know what I mean. So the under 7.5 is almost the same thing as the under 8. Although 8, of course, it is possible that it lands 8, but it's not as key of a number. This is a game where the public is going to want to come in on the over, man, because they know it's two good offenses. I understand that as well. It is two good offenses. Where are we looking for this game? Oh, it's interleague, right? Interleague games, a lot of times you do want to look towards unders, by the way, because the starting pitching is usually less familiar. In this game, we have 58% of tickets and 52% of the cash on the over. So the public is slightly on the over and less of the cash on it. It's gone down from 8 to 8, heavily juiced to the under, which is, I think that's a move that does have some significance. If you're wondering about the side, Milwaukee, 70% of tickets, 80% of the cash on them. Toronto down from minus 135 to minus 130. So we do see some money coming in on the Milwaukee side here. Don't know if I totally would agree with that. Toronto was off yesterday, I believe, and they're staying at home. Is that correct? So Toronto does have a bit of a travel edge here, man. But the day off might kind of cool off their bats a little bit. And Milwaukee actually might have some tired bats because they're having to travel. They're starting a road trip, though, so usually you are focused when you start a road trip. Both of these teams are going to have to play, man, because they're both leading their divisions right now, so they're both probably going to be focused here. It's a big matchup. Milwaukee, again, starting a road trip off 2 losses to Arizona, so they might be a little bit pissed. They might be focused. Again, they played yesterday, though, so you do have to worry about their bullpen a little bit. Toronto's bullpen, even though I know their offense is really good, but Toronto's bullpen is actually not that bad either. Let me see, where are they at? They're at 16th. Now their ERA is a little bit over 4. You could go under first 5 if you want to in this game, find an under in the first 5. I like to try to find a 4 to go under the first 5, man. Milwaukee's got the 10th best bullpen ERA, although I know they just lost their closer, Miguel, so that's a little bit of an issue. But if you look at what Milwaukee did yesterday, you have a rested Toronto bullpen, so that should help a little bit here. And then with Milwaukee, they only use Myers and McGee out of their bullpen, so those are 2 kind of longer relief men. So their better relievers are still available in this one. And I think our starting pitching matchup can kind of get us through this game here, man. So I will I'll still recommend the full game under on this one just because the bullpen rest scenario is there for it. The worst of the 2 bullpens is Toronto, and they're at least rested here as they didn't play yesterday. So basically, both teams have all their best relievers available here. So that's a good sign, except Miguel being injured for Milwaukee, like I said. Milwaukee's got Freddie Peralta on the mound. He's having a really good season, 2.68 ERA, 1.1 whip. I know he's not as good on the road, but 3.65 ERA. Yeah, it's just because he's so good at home. On the road, he's not even that much worse, and he's had some road starts this month, and it's still been fine for him. He's got a .41 ERA this month, and he hasn't allowed a run in his last 3 outings, including a road start against the Cubs where he held them to 1 hit in 6 innings. So that's crazy. And the start before those, he only allowed 1 run. So he's allowed 1 run this entire month. His walk numbers and his road ERA are still a bit of a concern, though, I will admit. He has a 26-11 strikeout walk ratio this month, but he's been unhittable, allowing 10 hits in 22 innings. So he's been really good as far as not allowing hits. His strikeout rate's high. Peralta does tend to be a little bit wild, though, so this is kind of just what you get out of Peralta, though you'd like to see those walk numbers go down a little bit. So that's the one kind of concern with him, but he has really good numbers against Toronto too, although I know it's a small sample size of 24, but it's spread out across basically their entire lineup. They only have 4 hits off him. They do have a home run from Bichette, 2.2 strikeout walk ratio, but he's held to a 167 average, 564 OPS, and they're not that familiar with Peralta, and they probably haven't seen him for quite a while, so they're not really used to facing him. So these interleague games, again, sometimes the unfamiliarity is a bit of an edge to the pitchers here, so I do like unders in interleague games more than I like overs. And he's going up against Shane Bieber, man. I gave out a play on Toronto, I believe, in his first start, and that worked out fine for me. And boy, did he do well, man. He's been injured for over an entire season. He was coming back, I believe, from Tommy John surgery, and he picked up right where he left off, man. Great start for him. I know it was against Miami. They're not a very good offense, but it was on the road. He held them to 1 earned run on a home run, and 2 hits in 6 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, no walks. So he only put 2 guys on base in the entire outing. Bieber was right back to himself, man. He's been excellent throughout his career, and people kind of forgot about him. And again, I think he should continue to do well here, man. Against Milwaukee, they don't have a whole lot of familiarity with him. Only 5 of their hitters have seen him before. 38 at bats. They do have a home run from Bowers. Bowers is one of the guys who's seen him more. He's really the only guy that hits well off him. Overall, they have 11 strikeouts, 3 walks, 211 batting average, and 637 OPS. So Bieber has good numbers against Milwaukee here, the Biebs. So we're going to go under in this game, man. It's a low total. Again, if you can find 8 at a reasonable price, you could do that too. But 7.5, getting on the best side of that key number is 7. I think it'll go under. That's one of my plays. Next up, this is going to be the one that's first 5 under, because I think the bullpen situation is a little bit more questionable in this one as far as the rest and as far as Miami not being a very good bullpen. This is Miami and the Mets. We're going to go first 5 innings. You can find this one more easily at the under 4 at minus 110. I found it at basically the straight up price there. I like this starting pitching matchup to go under as well, although I don't love the bullpen scenario here because these teams already played yesterday. So that's the kind of issue with this one, is these bullpens are not rested. So I'm like, all right. I'll take the bullpens out here. The Mets bullpen is better than the Miami's bullpen, and they're in decent shape, not having used a lot of their relievers over the last couple of days. So their bullpen I'd probably be fine with including. Miami, maybe not. Their bullpen's not very good, and they used 4 of their relief pitchers yesterday. So I'm just going to take them out of the equation. And this is a game where I think it's maybe a little bit less likely you're going to get deeper outings here. Like, I like these more proven starters a bit more as far as going the full game here, like Peralta versus Bieber. This game, maybe not so much. It's possible that these starters don't go as deep, so getting the first 5 innings is definitely better here. Hopefully you can still find the 4, because this game does have a low total as well. Although, actually, it looks like it's 8 juice to the under, so I think you probably still find the 4 here. It's dropped from 8.5. But it looks like the money's coming in on the over, but I don't agree with that. 61% of tickets on the over, 71% of the cash on the over. The Mets are up from minus 155 to minus 175, but the money is fading the Mets. 74% of tickets, 69% of the cash on them. Not sure what I would want to do with the side in this game, to be honest, because I kind of like the Mets starting pitching matchup, and I think yesterday they were just in a letdown spot, man, because they had swept Philadelphia. The Mets have something to play for here, although, yeah, Miami, I mean, they're going to show up too because it's a divisional matchup for them. But the Mets, I think they were in a letdown spot. They just swept Philadelphia, so I think they didn't have a good situation yesterday. So I think after that type of spot and they lose the game, I think the Mets actually might bounce back in this game. But we're not going to look at the side here. The money seems to be coming in against it, maybe just because the price is too heavy on them. But I think maybe even the professional bettors, although you wouldn't think they'd overlook the Mets starter here. Maybe they are, though. But I like the starting pitching matchup here, obviously, if I'm going under. Yuri Perez for the Marlins. Really nice numbers on the season. 3.44 ERA, 0.98 whip. He's still a really young dude, and he's already had Tommy John surgery. He's already worked his way back from it, and he's been pretty good. Yes, maybe you have to worry about the fact that he has a 4.42 ERA on the road, which isn't as good. This month, he's been a little bit more questionable with a 4.05 ERA, 24 to 10 strikeout walk ratio. So strikeout rate is still there. He's had a couple of starts where he's walked too many guys. Last outing was pretty good, though, against a pretty tough Toronto lineup. He picked up a win, went 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. So his form doesn't seem that bad to me, really. Overall, that was a good recent start from him. The Mets do have good numbers off him, but it's such a small sample size. I'm going to kind of just ignore it. In 12 at-bats, I know most of their hitters have seen him before, but 4-3 strikeout walk ratio is not good for him. 417 average, 1250 OPS. I know none of that is good, but again, it's such a small sample size, and I'm not sure that he faced them this season. No, he hasn't, because Perez came back in June after he was injured, so the Mets haven't seen him this year, man, so that might have been... Maybe he was just struggling like in his rookie year or whatever. I don't know when he faced the Mets, but they haven't seen him in a long time, so they're not that familiar with him, and he is pitching well again right now, so I do think he should do better than those matchup numbers suggest. He's going up against Jonah Tong, 22-year-old, is making his major league debut here. He's not a big guy, 6'1", 180, but he is being compared to Tim Lincecum, which may mean that he's going to completely wreck his arm throughout his career and not have a long career. Hopefully that's not the case. But this guy, man, he's actually a Canadian pitcher. You can see he's from Ontario, even though his name is Asian. I think he's probably Asian Canadian, Canadian Asian, whatever you want to call it. But he's making his major league debut, man. You know I like to look at these guys I like to look at them. They're sexy. Making their major league debuts here, man, because a lot of times a guy, if he's a really good young pitcher, young prospect with good stuff, he comes into the majors and he's facing a lineup that's never seen him before. That's usually a good thing, and that pitcher usually does well. I think we're going to get that out of Tong. I looked at his minor league numbers this year, and they're really quite good. Like, he has a really high strikeout rate, and his WHIP and ERA are both really low. Like, I think even at the AAA level, I think his ERA was, I think maybe in the ones, if I remember correctly. So he has a really low ERA. He's good. He throws mid to upper 90s fastball, has an overhand motion like Lincecum, I guess, like very aggressively overhand. He has the ability to strike guys out. He has a high strikeout rate throughout the minors. He's gone up through the minors pretty quickly, man. He's young. And he does have a couple extra pitches. He does have a 4-pitch arsenal, but he usually goes fastball and slider. I guess his slider is his off-speed offering that does have a lot of movement to it. I guess his fastball has a good amount of movement to it, too, and has a pretty good whiff rate. So he's striking out a lot of guys, blowing that fastball. I think probably up and in on right-handed hitters because he's a righty. But the slider is his second pitch, which is also good, has good movement on it. And then I guess he does have a changeup and a curveball, which I guess are not quite as good. But I still think, based on what I'm seeing out of his numbers, man, and the way that he profiles, I'm expecting he's going to be good, man. And the Mets, they just brought up Nolan McLean, too. And if they bring this guy up and they're both doing well, that's going to be pretty interesting come playoff time. If they make the playoffs, it's going to be crazy. So I like it. We're going to go under. First 5 innings only in that one, though, for Marlins, Mets, under the 4 in the first 5 innings. And then to finish it off, we're going to go Pirates, Red Sox, under the total. I knew this matchup was coming when it was announced yesterday, and I'm like, is there any possible way we can not play the under in this one? I'm going to say no. So we'll go with the under in this one. It's a full game. You can get it at under 8 right now at a reasonable price right now. It's still just sitting at the 8, but the money seems like it's coming in on the under. 79% of the tickets are on the under, so it looks like it's public, as this pitching matchup is almost no secret at this point. Well, maybe the Red Sox side is still a secret. Maybe it's just because I'm a Red Sox fan. I've been hearing about this guy for so long here. 99% of the cash on the under. Red Sox, by the way, they do have the money coming in on them, up from -110 to -111, 51% of tickets, 86% of the cash. I don't think I'm going to disagree with the Red Sox in this spot, but the Red Sox did play yesterday. Pittsburgh also did, though, so Pittsburgh's coming in from St. Louis. The Red Sox are returning home from a road trip. They went to the Yankees in Baltimore, not really a long road trip, so they're returning home, though, and facing Pittsburgh. I mean, usually you're not going to get that excited to face Pittsburgh, but they're facing Paul Skeens, and the Red Sox have a rookie making his debut on the mound, so I think that is all going to actually make the Red Sox focus in this game, where normally they probably wouldn't be against a bad team like Pittsburgh. So even though they're returning over from a road trip, they're not changing time zones. Yes, they'll have stuff to do at home, but I actually think this is a big pitching matchup. It's going to be a highly touted pitching matchup. I think both teams will show up for this. Pittsburgh is coming in from St. Louis. Like I said, they lost yesterday. Both teams played yesterday. I think part of the reason for the Red Sox getting the money here is because I think the feeling is that the starting pitching matchup is a bit of a duel. It's a bit of a wash, which I agree with that because I'm going to go under here. But also, in addition to that, the Red Sox have the better offense and the better bullpen here. So I think that's what we're looking at here. The Red Sox, obviously, they're the better team, and you're getting a pretty cheap price on the Red Sox given the fact that they have those other advantages. It's a very low price on the Red Sox. You're not going to find, like, fading Pittsburgh, you're not going to find it that cheap a price fading Pittsburgh most of the time, and it's because it's a Red Sox rookie making his debut up against Paul Skeens. Like, that's pretty much why you're getting the cheap price on the Red Sox. The Red Sox used 3 of their relief pitchers yesterday, so their bullpen decently rested, decently intact. Chapman's available tonight if they want him. So Red Sox, pretty good bullpen and in good form. Well, they're in good form right now, but they're in good rest shape right now. So the Red Sox bullpen, I think, is fine. To go full game on this. If their starting pitcher doesn't go quite deep into this game, the Red Sox bullpen, I think, can kind of cover it for them. They're going up against a very, very bad offense in Pittsburgh as well. So in Pittsburgh, they used 3 relievers yesterday. So maybe you worry a little bit more about Pittsburgh's bullpen. But I think all that being said, Skeens, I mean, he's almost like week in and week out, I guess, or start in and start out. You're almost pretty much always getting like 6 innings out of him for the most part. So if you get that out of him, I think it should be all right with Pittsburgh's bullpen for the rest of it. Paul Skeens, obviously, we know he has good numbers, 2.07 ERA, 0.94 whip. He's an elite pitcher. We know this. He's a little bit worse on the road, 2.5 ERA on the road. Still really good. 3.21 ERA this month, 35-5 strikeout walk ratio this month. And the 2 starts prior to this month, he pitched 2 shutouts in a row. So obviously he's in good form. He has 2 shutouts this month too. He had 1 bad start at Milwaukee. Good offense. Actually, at the Colorado at Coors Field, he didn't do particularly well either, but you can give him a pass for that. He's coming off getting back at Colorado at home and shutting them out. Yes, he's having to step up in class to face the Red Sox. But the Red Sox, besides Bregman, have never seen him before. Bregman's only 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts off him, but the Red Sox have never faced Paul Skeens. So it's going to be one of those rare second-year advantages. Like, usually when you have a second-year pitcher, all the offenses are familiar with him at this point, but not only is Skeens dominant, but he actually gets an extra advantage here because the Red Sox hitters have never faced him before, and they're going to have to figure him out. So you have unfamiliarity all around in this game as the Red Sox have called up Peyton Tolley, the most highly touted pitching prospect in the Red Sox organization, who's rised through their minor league organization really rapidly this season. And because the Red Sox have some pretty bad starting pitchers in their rotation, they're like, yeah, fuck it. Dustin May, Walker Buehler, those guys suck. Let's see if this guy can do what he's been doing in the minors, man. Tolley, he's also a massive dude, and he looks old school, man. He's 6'6", 250. He's got a stash. He looks like he's a guy that's out there chewing tobacco. He looks fucking old school. I like that shit. And he's got stuff, man. He's got a fastball that he throws in the upper 90s. He throws from a really weird, like, 3/4 arm angle where he's so tall that his release point somehow is, like, so close to the hitter that it like almost makes the pitch even faster, and the hitter has less time to react. I think it's due to kind of just the way that his motion is and how tall he is. It's almost like he's like right in your face and on top of you. It's a crazy thing. Like you can find some videos of that, I think. So, I mean, he's got the stuff, man. He's been good throughout the minor leagues as well. He does have a 5-pitch arsenal, although he's mostly going that fastball, a cutter, and a changeup. Those are like his top 3 pitches. The cutter, a little bit less fast and has some crazy movement on that. I know his fastball has like this vertical on it that also throws hitters off. They swing and miss a lot at that fastball. And then his changeup is actually pretty good as well, I believe. So he mixes that in as well. And then he does also at least attempt to throw, I think, a curveball and a slider. I think there was other 2 if I got all that right. So he's got other pitches in the mix, so he doesn't use them as much. But he's been good in the minors, man. He was pretty much dominating in Double-A. So they brought him up from Portland to Triple-A to the Woo Sox, Worcester kid. And his numbers don't look like stellar in AAA. I mean, his ERA was still in the 3s in AAA, but he only was there for like 2 or 3 starts. And his first start, he actually was just shaky at the beginning of the start. He gave up like 4 runs in the first inning that he pitched in Worcester. And then beyond that, he like basically didn't give up anything. And he completely dominated after that. So I think he was just trying to get his bearings. Yes, that worries me in this case. Like maybe he'll have a shaky first inning or 2 here, which hopefully not because we need the under, but it'll also help going full game here because first 5 innings, you're basically screwed if you get one somewhat bad inning, but at least with the full game, you can kind of counter that a little bit, but I think he's going to be good, man. He gets to face the weakest lineup in all of baseball, so I think in all the major leagues at least. So I think that can help him. It's just like the next step up, baby steps basically for baby Peyton, who's a giant man. Let's go with him, man. And I think it's going to be like an extra kind of, emotional thing or whatever, because Tolley, his mother actually died like a few months ago. She was dealing with cancer, and I guess it was a situation. She had colon cancer, which is like an instant death sentence, and she was only in her 40s, and they gave her like 3 months to live, and she lived for like 8 years or something like that, battling cancer. So that's the type of lineage that Tolley has here, man, as far as this family being fighters. So I think it might be like a little bit of an extra motivational thing for him. I don't know if his father is going to be in attendance for this or not. I would imagine probably yes, but we'll see. I don't know that much about his family otherwise, but I saw an article about his mom. But I think he's gonna do well, man. So we're gonna go under in this game. Sorry to get emotional on you there. We're gonna go under the 8 in the full game here. Pirates, Red Sox in that one. Alex, what's up, man? Oh, thank you, sir. I'm not giving them up. I just don't really see any situations that I love that much. I'll have more throughout the season and probably in the playoffs. I will almost definitely have more in the playoffs. But this is my first season doing the WNBA. I mean, I think a lot of the same situational aspects apply, but it's just the WNBA. I'm just not seeing that many situations, man. But when I do, I will give it out on the show. But thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm up on the year in the WNBA by probably about 3-4 of my unit sizes, basically. That's what you want to call it. Units. Peyton Tolley is a unit, man. Let's go to college football here, and then we'll finish it off. This is a long video today, man. Friday. I'm giving you a 2-hour video, right? We're only going to talk about the games that are FBS. We do have Western Michigan at Michigan State, which is going to be at 7 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Michigan State, I think they should take a little bit of a step up this year. Last year, they had growing pains because they brought over a new coach from Oregon State. He brought over some of his guys. He brought over his quarterback, I believe, that he had, which is Childs, I think is his name, Aiden Childs. So it was like growing pains for him. But now I think Childs is still there. I'm pretty sure the coach is there. So these guys that he brought over, I think they're going to, now that they have a season under their belt, I think Michigan State should be a little bit better. Childs, he's a junior now, so he's got a couple of years under his belt in college football as well. But Western Michigan, even though they're a bad team, they're going to step up against Michigan State at least because it's that in-state rivalry game. So it still wouldn't shock me with a low total like this if Michigan State doesn't wind up covering the number, although I'd be pretty shocked if Michigan State loses the game outright. They're up from 18 to 21 here, so they're a huge favorite, even though the total's 49.5. Money actually coming in on MSU, 77% of tickets, 92% of the cash. Again, I wouldn't want to lay a number like that, though, of course, especially up to 3 touchdowns. It's gone through that key number with a low total like that. I would stay away from that. I don't really want money on Western Michigan either, though. Western Michigan, I mean, we can look at their returning production here. Show me Michigan State, man. Michigan State's 30th in, oh, God. I hate this, man. These fucking articles, and then they go down to all this other shit, and then there are articles below that. Because they abbreviate. It's like, how the fuck do you find Western Michigan in here? Where the fuck are they? But I think we know the returning production it's got to be higher on the side of Michigan State, you would imagine. But Western Michigan, I mean, they're a MAC team. They weren't even that good last year. I think their thing was, I actually don't even remember what their type of offense was last year, to be honest. I would have to go back and look. I talked about it on my show last year, though. Where the fuck is Western Michigan? There they are. They're 123rd in returning production. So, yeah, Western Michigan, very, very low in returning production. So there's not a whole lot going on there. If you are thinking about maybe grabbing Western Michigan, the only thing is that you get more value per point because it's such a low total in this game. So that's the only thing I would say about that. Kennesaw State at Wake Forest. Wake Forest, I mean, they got a nice, easy matchup here against Kennesaw State, who was probably the worst team in all of FBS last year. But Kennesaw State, I mean, maybe they'll improve a little bit coming into this season. Wake Forest, they're not a huge favorite, really. They're actually down from 18 to 17.5 here. 86% of tickets, 87% of the cash on them. Total a little bit higher. The total's plummeted, though, from 53.5 to 50.5. If you wanted to get the under here, you'd have to look at 51. Kennesaw State really had a bad offense last year. So I think that would be part of the thing about looking at this game here, Wake Forest only has six returning starters, 2 on offense, not including their quarterback. So Wake Forest is in kind of a revamp as well. Michigan State, by the way, only had 9 returning starters, so not a ton, but probably more than Western Michigan. But this game, I mean, you got a lot of turnover on both of these teams here. I mean, Wake Forest, not that good. Kennesaw actually has 73% returning production, so never mind what I said. Kennesaw, they were a bad team last year, but they're actually returning a lot of production, so maybe that's the reason why there's money coming in on them, because Wake Forest lost like everybody, so Wake 88th in returning production. So I take that back. Kennesaw actually does have returning production, which they were pretty new to FBS, I think, recently, too. I think it might have been their first year in FBS last year. They're in the Conference USA. So maybe there are some angles there to actually look at Kennesaw State plus the points in that one, especially if the money's coming in on the under. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Wake Forest, I mean, the ACC is not very strong, and Wake is not one of the stronger teams in that conference. And Kennesaw was just so brutally bad last year that if they're returning those starters, even though, yeah, that means those starters aren't that talented, but having that year under their belts in FBS might actually propel them forward a little bit. So thinking about it more, I might actually lean to taking the points in that one with Kennesaw. Not going to give it out as a play. App State at Charlotte. App State has been a pretty good program for a while now. I remember last year, I think they took a little bit of a step back. I mean, the Hurricane, if you remember that, the Hurricane came in and basically just blew away their town in Boone, North Carolina. So that's not great for them. Charlotte, I mean, I think they consider themselves to be a little brother to App State. So Charlotte's been bad recently, but I think they might at least have some motivation to step it up in a game like this, hosting a team that they consider to be a bigger brother in their state, because App State has obviously been the better program. And this line has absolutely tanked. It opened at 9 probably a couple of months ago, and it's already down to 3. And is that all just market movement, just tons of professional money taking Charlotte here? Maybe it is, because I think it was still 5.5 yesterday, but of course the value is all gone. Like if you liked Charlotte, you had to get it at like +7 or better. I don't think there's any way you could take them +3, but there has been some strong movement on the Charlotte side here. 52% of tickets on App State, 78% of the cash coming in on Charlotte, though. I'm not familiar with these teams really, but Charlotte is 131st in returning production. So it's like, what are guys even seeing with them? I don't even know, man. App State, where are they at in returning production? I don't think they have a lot either, if I recall, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Where are they at? I don't even see them up here, man. So I don't even know where App State is at. My apologies. I mean, it's way too hard to search on this fucking page because ESPN puts a million articles after that. And I probably shouldn't even be showing you this article because it's behind a paywall, but whatever. There they are. They're 108th. So App State doesn't have a whole lot of returning production either. So both teams kind of in that type of spot. Again, maybe it's just a lot of it just being the Charlottes might be more motivated here. I mean, I don't really understand it otherwise. That's not a game I'll get involved in. Auburn and Baylor is the biggest game of the night, really. That's a big game, actually, between an SEC team and a Big 12 team. I actually think both teams should improve this year. I think Auburn, they were better than they looked last year. I mean, I think they failed to make a bowl. I know under Hugh Freeze is that their coach now. He hasn't really been very good there. They've had a bunch of mediocre seasons, but last year, if you remember on my show, I gave out Auburn multiple times last year as a play, and some of them got absolutely screwed. We took some bad beats on some Auburn games last year, man. So I think they're better than they looked last year. Baylor, they had a good second half to the season. They got themselves in a bowl game. Their quarterback is very talented. I believe he's back. So Baylor, there's a lot to like, actually, about both of these teams, in my opinion, coming into this season. I think they both might get better. Baylor, yeah, Sawyer Robertson is their quarterback. They're returning their running back, multiple wide receivers. They're returning 13 guys, so Baylor has a lot of returning starters here, man. So not a bad situation for Baylor. Auburn returning 11, although they're not returning their quarterback, my mistake, or their running back, but they got still 11 returning starters, so a lot of their core is still there. Their offensive line is pretty much all returning. And decent amount of their defense returning. So returning starters on both sides. Auburn has dropped from a 2.5-point favorite to a 1.5-point favorite. It looks like the money is coming in on Baylor, even though Baylor is a little bit public. 66% of tickets, 73% of the cash coming in on Baylor, though. So I think that maybe some of it is just because the professional money just doesn't think that Auburn should be favored on the road here. Like, what has Auburn really done to justify being a favorite on the road? Like, is that them just getting the SEC hype because they're in the SEC, which everybody knows is the best conference? The Big 12, yeah, the Big 12 is a bad conference. In my opinion, it's not a very good conference. It's a finesse conference. So I do think that the one thing that an SEC team like Auburn does have over a team like Baylor is that the SEC team plays physical. And a team like Baylor is more of like an offensive team, more of a finesse team usually. So, which I think is still the case with them this year. So that's the one thing that a Big 12 team like that, not really used to that amount of physicality. When that physicality comes into play, they could get a little bit beat up by that. So that is something to look at there. Maybe that would give Auburn like a slight edge in that game. But the money is kind of saying Baylor here. Money seems to be coming in on the under a little bit. Total's at 57, which is a fairly high total. I think that Auburn probably is correlated to the under, though, in this game. Because if you like Auburn, you're probably expecting some physical defense to come out and slow Baylor's offense down. But Baylor, again, their quarterback is returning, so I don't really necessarily love Auburn either here. I've heard conflicting opinions from professional bettors on this game, too. And then we do have Georgia Tech, Colorado. Of course, Colorado, they don't have Sanders anymore. Shedeur Sanders. And I think Deion Sanders is going through some health stuff. I don't know why this is on ESPN, but Georgia Tech, I kind of like Georgia Tech, man. I kind of like them in this game as well. It might be my favorite lean, although I'm not going to give it out as a play on the show. But Georgia Tech, actually, where are they at here? Are they listed under? Yeah, they're listed under GA Tech. They're 26th in returning production, man. And you know Colorado is nowhere near that. Where's Colorado at? Colorado, yeah. Actually, where are they at? Am I wrong about that? Let me see. Colorado, because they lost Sanders and they lost Travis Hunter. So it's like, who do they have left? Hunter, you know, the guy that plays both defense and offense. They both got drafted. I don't even know where Colorado is, man. So, I mean, I could actually probably find it by doing a different search. There they are, 89th in returning production. So we know this. Colorado does not have a lot of returning production. Georgia Tech, dude, I like Georgia Tech. I talked about this on my show. They do only have 9 returning starters, which isn't a lot, but a lot of their offense is returning. Haynes King, kind of the key component of their offense. He's a really, really solid dual threat quarterback, and he did get injured at one point last year. He is a really, really talented quarterback, man. And they got a running back, their running back, Haynes, who was their primary running back. So they're both back. The Haynes tandem, and then Rutherford, one of their wide receivers, is back as well. So they're returning some of their best players. I mean, this offense runs through King, though, man. And he's back. He's got a lot of experience now. So I do like Georgia Tech over whatever the hell Colorado is. I should have just looked at this. Colorado, they have 8 returning starters, 4 on offense, 4 on defense. Their offensive line is pretty much all returning. And then the defense is kind of a mix of players, mostly secondary players coming back. So that front 7 for Colorado, which is already not that good, might be pretty bad here. I don't like Colorado's defense either. The money's coming in against Georgia Tech, but I don't agree with that. Georgia Tech down from 4.5 to 4, 76% of tickets, 71% of the cash coming in on them. So the money is fading them, and it's coming in on the under, which it's already dropped the total from 57.5 to 51.5. That is a crazy move on the total. I don't really understand what's going on with that total move. 60% of tickets, 78% of cash on the under, but I still need to Georgia Tech. I don't really understand how this Colorado defense that's not good anyway is going to stop an offense that is going to have continuity with their quarterback still there, like Haynes King, who's a talented quarterback there. I don't know who Colorado picked up as their quarterback, but for me, that first game like that, you usually want to look to the team that has the continuity. So I would lay the points with Georgia Tech. That would be my opinion in that game, even though it's going against the money. UNLV and Sam Houston, interestingly, they both played in week 0. So sometimes you always hear like, oh, well, the team that played in week 0 has an advantage because they have a game under their belt. Well, both teams have a game under their belt in this case, but sometimes that's not even the case. Like, I think it kind of depends who the team played. Like, I'm actually going to probably give out a play on the Saturday show, which will probably be tonight, by the way, late night tonight, where I'm going to actually probably fade a team that played in week 0. In this case, both teams played. UNLV, I mean, this is a team that had a total overhaul. Like, they have a new coach coming in there, Dan Mullins, who I don't think is very good. He came out of the broadcast booth. Not a good sign after he wasn't good at Florida. They almost lost to Idaho State, or they only beat them by 7. An FBS team. It's not a terrific FBS team. That's not a good sign for UNLV. But then again, because they now have a game under their belt and they almost lost their home opener, they might be refocused for this one. And they're facing a Sam Houston team that is not really that prolific. Sam Houston, they did bring back their quarterback from last year, Hunter Watson, who was a pretty good dual threat quarterback. But Sam Houston, in some ways, they kind of overperformed last year. They were also new to FBS in the Conference USA, so they do face lesser talent as well. They lost their first game to Western Kentucky, although Western Kentucky is usually one of the better teams in the CUSA, even though Western Kentucky didn't have their quarterback returning. And that was actually a closer game than the final. I actually said I leaned to Sam Houston plus the points in that game, and they were within the point margin. They were within the plus, whatever it was, 10.5 fairly late in the game, and wound up losing by 17. This is their home opener, though, for Sam Houston, so there are reasons for both teams to show up here. Sam Houston gets to face a Mountain West team that did well last year, so I think they'll show up for that reason. UNLV, I think, will be embarrassed off of that performance, so they might show up as well, but the money is coming in on Sam Houston. The line dropped from 13 to 9 on UNLV, so if you like Sam Houston, you've lost some value there. You'd want to get it at least plus 10.5 probably on that. That line has moved through that key number of 10, so you've lost the value on that, unfortunately. A lot of these week one guys, 53% of tickets, 64, a lot of these week one lines, I should say, move a ton. 53% of tickets, 64% of the cash on Sam Houston. So it does look like the money's coming in, taking the home dog in that one. I guess do with that information what you will. Yeah, I keep hearing that Dan Mullen was good at Mississippi State, and I don't even remember that happening. But that was a long time ago. I still think he's a shit coach. I mean, there's a reason why he was in the broadcast booth. He flamed out at Florida. Yeah, we'll see. But I don't expect a whole lot out of UNLV at all this year, man. And then Central Michigan is facing San Jose State. I mean, San Jose State is supposed to be one of the better teams in the Mountain West this year. They have decent returning production at 63rd in returning production. Central Michigan, I don't even know where they're at in returning production. They're at 80th, so they have less returning production. They're the lesser team. San Jose State is definitely a big favorite here. San Jose State, it's all about their offense. Their offense is good. They've made bowls in a few games recently. These games are going to be televised, by the way. That UNLV Sam Houston game on CBS Sports and Central Michigan San Jose State on Fox Sports 1. So you get to watch all these football games, college football, but you can never watch Major League Baseball anymore on national TV. But San Jose State, yeah, they have a prolific offense. Central Michigan, their offense was really, really bad last year, and I don't really know what we're going to be seeing out of them this year. They were not very good. I think Central Michigan actually overperformed early in the season too against that MAC schedule. So San Jose State's at least in a better conference. So the money has come in on San Jose State up from 10.5 now through the 13.5 through 14 now. 63% of tickets, 89% of the cash on San Jose State. I mean, if you want to lay it with San Jose State, you better do it at 14. But lost a little bit of value on that. I'm still not going to do it, but I mean, I can see the argument for it. Also, Central Michigan having to go out and play a late night game on the Pacific Coast. Not exactly that easy, although at least for them, they haven't played yet this season. So these teams do spend like the entire offseason basically pretty much trying to prepare for their first game. And the money also coming in, it looks like a little bit on the under as far as the cash percentage, but the total's gone towards the over a little bit. So, I mean, I don't know. Do with that information what you will. That's going to do it. Long show today. Fuck. We got 3 plays today, all in baseball. Brewers, Blue Jays under the total, 7.5. First 5 under the total in Marlins, Mets under 4. And full game under 8, Pirates, Red Sox. That's going to do it. Learn to tote on Twitter and learn to tote on Instagram. Better Off Dead. Like, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm on the audio as well. Give me a review over there. Spotify, Apple. Like and subscribe on YouTube, obviously. Covered in Uke on YouTube as well with my Uke stuff. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. And you'll get some bonus Uke stuff there at least. And I think that's about it, man. It's been a long video today. I will probably be back very late night to do the the actual week 1 college football show to talk about tomorrow. And I believe I'll probably have about 3 or so plays is what I think I'm going to wind up with having tomorrow. Maybe 4 on the Saturday slate, so we will see. You already know I gave up Texas. That line has moved to almost a pick 'em now. So hopefully if you got Texas, hopefully you got them at an underdog price, man, because that line is completely gone now. And I recommended it when it was at 3 like weeks ago. So I guess the advantage of watching my show every day, I guess. But I like Texas in that one. You guys already know that. So do with that information what you will. And I'll probably have a couple additional plays to add to the mix there. But that's going to do it for now. And hopefully those other lines don't move too much. Peace out for now, guys. So be on the lookout for that late tonight after I get back from 9 Inch Nails. It's going to be a late night. Peace for now. I got to eat some lunch, man. Let's kick off the weekend right.